Mikes on FM and BBC Sounds.
Live on Sports Sound.
Chance, goal! Goal! That is a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. We are with you right through until just before 8 o'clock this evening, because the action continues at 5:45. Full commentary to come from Paisley St Mirren up against Hibs. We're on the telly today, BBC One Scotland, from 4:30 until 5:20. Alan Preston, as I said, is at the Falkirk Stadium for us. Very poignant there, of course, Alan, but the action now about to get underway, and it's an interesting situation between these two clubs because the fantastic record Livy have had against Falkirk in recent times.
That's incredible. See, when I was looking at the stats this morning, 10 points out of 12 available last year in the league with Falkirk, won the league, you know, and they were excellent. And then their only win this season is against Falkirk, obviously at Amond Vale. So it's going to be a tricky match, but as Martin, with his interview there with John McGlynn, it's a chance to really extend this lead, get themselves into third if they can for Falkirk. And as far as Livy are concerned, a victory here today gets them off the bottom with the games being played tomorrow. Yeah,
it's a big game. Billy Dodge, you were there, of course, at the Falkirk Stadium for us last week. It's just a terrific atmosphere, isn't it?
I loved it, and it was the first time I'd been there for a long while, and they played their part, the fans, and Alan will tell you that today. If they go in front, I mean, the celebrations are wild, and then if they're having a sticky patch in the game, they get them through that, and I expect that today, because I expect Livingston to run them close.
Do you have concerns, Juliet? They're by no means adrift, Livingston, of course. You're just 2 points below Dundee at the bottom of the table, and then 3 points above them. 3 clubs, Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, St Mirren. So very early days, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you can see they're far from being adrift from the rest of the group. I think what we've seen so far this season is teams taking points off each other right across the board, and I think that's what's making it so exciting, that no one's actually get that gap. Certainly at the top, Hearts have got a bit of a gap, but when you're looking at the bottom of the table, it's still all quite exciting, and you do feel when you go into each fixture that it really could be anybody's game.
Yeah, looking forward to that when we are covering 3 games in the Championship for you today. We heard from Neil Lennon pre-match. What a game this should be.
You were gutted, David, to have a right go at the refs here, weren't you? Let's be honest. You were absolutely waiting on it.
Well, one thing I knew, you certainly couldn't repeat that a couple of weeks ago. Did you listen to it a couple of weeks ago on Dingwall? Oh my goodness. But I think he had a conversation with Willie Collum after that, you know, and maybe reach some common ground there. But I love listening to it.
You know what was quite interesting about it, Kenny, was he referenced his time at Hibs where they won the league and were winning most weeks, and it's amazing how you know, if you're going through a sticky patch or things aren't quite going your way, you remember all the decisions. But I'm sure he get plenty of decisions against him that season, but when you're flying up the top of the league, you don't really remember them because they don't affect too much.
No, I wasn't expecting, I have to say that he would welcome VAR in the Championship, and you rightly, Rory, pointed out a lot of positives that we've had from VAR. You know, it's got a lot of things right. We appreciate that. I think just in recent times there's been a few decisions that have absolutely baffled us. Right, let's get to East End Park and Fairmont against St John's. You must be really looking forward to this one, Willie Miller.
Yes, Kenny, I am, although we've got quite a bit of blue smoke coming from that 1,300 St Johnstone supporters that have made the journey over. But getting back to the game, yeah, it should be a cracker. You know, so much at stake. I think as far as Simo Valakari is concerned, then this is a great opportunity to get a little bit of, I think it would be 5 points, is that right? Yeah, that they would, if they won this today, they would be 5 points clear at the top. So a big game for them. But Neil Lennon as well, you know, he's down there in 4th spot, looking to, you know, at least make the playoff slots. So big game. You know, it's a good crowd in here. There is about that 5,000, so really good atmosphere and absolutely perfect weather conditions as well, Kenny. Yeah, and you mentioned that gap that could open up because, of course, part of Thistle were playing last night with that very, very late equaliser against Airdrie. A real terrible error, you'd have to say, for the young Airdrie keeper. He will learn from that. But that's something I'll get you guys to think about, because I think of 2 guys in particular on this programme looking forward to hearing the stories of when a player makes an absolute howler and goes into the dressing room afterwards, what it's like in there. Is it a wee cuddle? What is it like? Is it support? Or they tend to get absolutely blasted. So we'll get some stories from the guys in a few minutes' time, but let's get to Capello Morton against Arbroath. It's been a terrific start to the season, Ian, as you were saying, for Arbroath. What do you think is key to that thing? Because they are a part-time club.
Yeah, I mean, looking at them, it's a fit looking side. I mean, I think the 2 or 3 loanies that they've got in have done really well. But you really look at the back four with Scott Stewart, Muirhead, Tam O'Brien, who I've said many years, I'm amazed that he spent his whole career at, no disrespect, but at Arbroath. I thought he was capable of playing at one of the really big clubs. And obviously Jack Wilkie at left back, who's never missed a game. So they're a big side. They move the ball about really well. I didn't see it coming. I saw them against Ayr United earlier in the season, just taking the game in my own, actually sitting in the new stand at Ayr United. That's why I went down. So and Ayr United beat them 4-0. So the game's 4 or 5 minutes old, Kenny, but no chances. Big game for Morton as well. They really, after 9 draws in 13 games, which is incredible, they really need a wee home win.
Ian, we'll cross the Chick in a couple of minutes' time. He's watching Queen's Park because you watched Queen's Park at Firhill last weekend and you kept us up to date with that dreadful injury for Charlie Fox. It must have been so difficult for him, and of course that long wait to get into the ambulance.
Yeah, I mean, it was down first of all. I mean, it was about 13 or 14 minutes, I think, that we played over in the first half. And then, by all accounts, it's 9 or 10 hours waiting in an ambulance. And I think they were very respectful towards the ambulance people in terms of, obviously, there are other people there, but 10 hours is a long time, because I'll tell you what, I mean, he's a big, strong lad, a big centre back. He goes and wins it. He was in absolute agony. I mean, you could tell. And I think I text you, Kenny, there's a dislocated. I've never known, I've never done it, but what a dislocated kneecap is. But it's certainly Tommy Adeloye nearly scored at the back post, but it's certainly a bad one, a bad injury. And it kind of, because it was half time, it didn't really ruin the flow of the game, as it were. But I'd worry about Queen's Park, though, Kenny. I've got to say, I know you're going to go and speak to Chick now. I'd worry about Queen's Park without Charlie Fox, and they were very, very poor. Airdrie looked a lot better than last night on the TV.
Yeah, they were very good. We'll cross to Chick in a minute, but Julie, I could see you wincing when Ian was describing that injury.
Yeah, it happened to me.
Have you had that, Julie?
I dislocated my kneecap at training when I was training with a men's team, and it was just a really awkward kind of turn, twisted, my kneecap dislocated, it hit my thigh bone, it chipped off my thigh bone, and it then split my kneecap. So that was probably the worst injury I've ever had.
Get back, Julie?
Is anybody squirming?
Sorry to ruin your afternoon.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
What was the recovery time for that, Julie?
I was quite a few months out. I remember I was actually staying with my father-in-law at the time. We were just getting married and we were waiting for our house, and it was just the most awkward timing for to kind of suffer from that injury and the operation and recovery. But no, I mean, I did come back fully recovered from it, and hopefully it's going to be exactly the same for this young man.
Yeah, we send our best wishes to Charlie Fox. So Chick is watching Queen's Park against Wraith Rovers this season. Would you have major concerns for Queen's this campaign, Chick?
I might be out for a few weeks listening to Joey's injury. I don't do these things very well, Kenny, as you know. And actually, it was a great moment when the teams came out and the stadium announcer here at the City Stadium said, let's do it for Foxy. So there's a real coming together. I share the concerns of Collie about this, not just as a team but as a club. I think Queen's Park have lost their direction a little bit over the season. I think they're looking in the rear view mirrors, not in terms of climbing it, but this league, but avoiding dropping down, and I just spoke to a couple of fans actually who talking to me about had I been here before, had I watched games, and they said make sure you come and see us in the Lowland League. That's how much optimism is floating about this place with some of the supporters at the moment. In terms of the game today, it's been all Wraith Rovers at the start. There's the sun's coming right down into my spout at the moment, which is I'm not complaining about, because I adore the sunshine, but it's making it very difficult out there to see what's happening. But I can tell you it's all Wraith Rovers at the moment trying to get forward. But as a club, and as an injury to Big Charlie, I mean, I spoke to a few people here. He's definitely out for the rest of the season. That was just dreadful what happened with the ambulance, and I think Collie's words on the radio last week resonated around the country, and I think a lot of people and a lot of sympathy going towards the big man, who of course was just back from a long-term injury, which makes it even worse as well. And if you've got a big man like that lying screaming in pain, I don't know what I would have done. I'd have been shouting from my mother, I can tell you that.
They've got quite a young manager, Sean Crichton, Billy Dodds. It's a big job for him, isn't it? I know he's got Jim Duffy there alongside him, but
he's been kind of chucked right into it as well. And then in the back of the kind of this is the last year of the financial backing, isn't it? And then they're going to step away, and it's left them in the lurch a little bit. But I'll tell you what, it's like winning the league for them if they can stay in the Championship. That's what it comes down to. They're not a well supported club in terms of numbers, but I mean, at one point they were flying in the Championship. It's a shame to see them kind of going back the way, but it all comes down to financial capability, Kenny.
Right, Queen of the South one.
That's the first goal.
Yes, Willie.
First goal for Dunfermline. Just try to see who got the touch at the near post. It was a really good cross into the box. Barney Stewart it was that got the touch. Really well taken, the driven low cross from the right hand side that bounces. He's beyond the near post as well as Stewart. He's got to have the really delicate touch with the inside of the boot, and it sneaks in at the back post, so he's just got that little clip on it, but it went exactly where he was planning and putting it. So a really positive start here for Dunfermline as they go 1-0 up.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. He's obviously a loan signing. What a signing he's been, Barney Stewart, isn't he?
Yeah, and just the way Willie's describing the goal there, it's all his goals are strikers' goals. You know, they're tap-ins or they're off the stud. The best type of goals really is a striker, and as a manager you look at that type of finish and you think he's going to score a good few of them a season. It's great for a striker to turn and whack one in the top bin for 20 yards, but if you've got a striker who's gambling across the front and checking to the back stick and tapping them in, you know, as long as the deliveries are coming in, they won't dry up for Barney Stewart. 2 quick goals for Queen of the South. 2-0 up at home to East Fife. Liam Smith on 6 minutes, Jack Stott on 8 minutes. So 2-0 up for Queen of the South early doors. 1-0 up for Dunfermline. Barney Stewart with that goal against the league leader St Johnstone. Let's then stay in the Championship, and I mentioned that earlier on about that. It was a terrible error, you've got to say, from the Airdrie keeper last night. So Alan Preston, take us into a dressing room when a player, keeper or outfield player, has made a horrendous mistake. What have you witnessed?
Goalies are the worst, because goalies slaughter you for making mistakes, and then when they make one they want sympathy. Horrendous. I don't like goalies, I never have. And I've seen fights, Kenny, there's been fights. There's honestly been fights in changing rooms because of mistakes that have been made. But you've got to look at yourself, because everyone makes mistakes, and that's
Alan, is that every goalkeeper you don't like?
Yes.
Well, you want to name
a few have clattered me coming out. Corners have clattered me. They shout, mine's yours away. You know what it's like, Willie.
That's your own goalkeeper biscuits.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You're defending a corner that's mine's yours away. What are you meant to do?
Sir Alex back in the day, Willie, when a player made an individual error that cost a goal.
You know, psychology. He just would come in very calm and collected. You could see him just strolling into the dressing room maybe at half time and full time, and then totally blast whoever made the error. Unbelievable. There was only one or two that he didn't pick on right enough.
What was the one, Kenny, with David Martindale, who said I had a quiet word, and then we heard the dress.
That's one of the best ever.
Yeah, I remember that.
Aye, someone did the secret recording after he did his interview. That these things happen.
Yeah, but sometimes the player will have a wee pop back, but he's one you probably wouldn't have a pop back.
No, I wouldn't recommend that. E. McCall, who was the most difficult then to manage of some of the players that you've managed through the years?
Goal!
Wait a minute, goal!
I'll let you go in the goal.
Brilliant finish.
Josh Fowler with the goal. Great player through the inside right channel. Got under his foot. Seemed to have an awful lot of time. And then Josh Fowler just strikes it low. Goalkeeper down to his right. I'm not entirely convinced that Josh Ray did brilliantly well in terms of that. But it's a goal for Queen's Park. We've just been talking about them being in trouble. Fans rise to their feet and applaud it. It is Queen's Park 1, Wraith Rovers 0. Josh Fowler.
Falkirk should have done better. Falkirk should have done better. It was a corner to Livingston, and Falkirk broke really quick. It was a 3-on-1 situation. They made a bit of a mess of it. Eventually got a strike off away for a corner, but should have done a lot better. Started the game really well, Falkirk.
Yeah, he should have pushed it out to the right hand side, Alan, instead of shooting. He got a wee bit, he's seen his name in lights, but if he pushes it out to the right hand side, and you're right, they're fortunate to get the corner. But Josh Fowler's another player in the Championship who's come up and he's scoring goals. Queen's Park will be delighted to have him back after a couple of weeks out.
They were so strong in the transition moments last week against Kilmarnock, Falkirk. I felt that was a real strength of theirs when they were getting into a very similar position to what they've just been in there against Livingston, albeit Kilmarnock didn't defend those moments very well, but certainly it is a strength of Falkirk's is when they do attack in those transition moments.
What did you like about? I was talking about the atmosphere in the stadium last week. Everyone that's been on the programme has said that, Bill. What did you like about the way they play football, as Julie's just picked up on there?
Julie mentioned earlier on, they have been losing goals on occasions, but my word, do they go and attack you? I mean, the two wingers.
Hold on a minute, have a look at this.
All right.
Stevie May's left one on Scott Bain at the far end. It's gone back to Bain, he takes a touch, plays it, it goes down. I didn't see it.
First impressions looks a bit like momentum to me. He didn't lift a foot, Ali, just kind of
looks confident,
left it in the air there. Yeah.
He's holding his face, yeah.
Possible penalty for handball we've got here.
What? All right, we'll need to
I have no clue.
So is that going back to the corner at the other end?
May have done, aye.
Must
Possibly.
do, doesn't it?
Must do.
We're going to need to see some pictures before we can come.
He's going to have a look at it. He's got to go and have a look at it.
Right, here we go.
Again, swept up the other end of the pitch. Nobody's got a clue.
Nothing in Stevie May. Nothing.
I thought that.
Here we go. Now we're going to the corner.
Yeah. That's a penalty. Yeah, I think that'll be given. He's elbowed that away.
Yeah, Stevie May.
Tell me who's
Stevie May.
Stevie May, yeah, just elbows it out, goes to that front post area, outswinger, and he just puts his arm towards it and elbows it away.
Between him and Macaulay Tate, Davy Martindale's going to need to remind him what sport they're playing.
And that there is the benefit of VAR.
Yeah, exactly that. Because that would never have been spotted otherwise, and it is. He's not even looking at the ball. Stevie May puts his arm up, hits
the
his elbow.
referee's now pulling both captains over for some reason.
Just explain the decision, I'd imagine.
Right. But Stevie May's probably wondering what's happened in the opposite box when he's gone in.
It's a penalty, yeah, penalty's given. But what I would say is that no one in the stadium's got a clue what it's for. They've just been saying it's a handball, but who against what's going on? Normally we're saying they should be announcing, the ball was struck the hand of Livingston player 17, Stevie May. I'll never to say his name, but number 17, penalty's given.
Those moments it would be helpful, because we missed it as well. We had to go have a look back because he wasn't facing the play as the corner comes in.
I don't know what he's thinking, but that's exactly what I was touching on, before the game started with Bobby Madden. That's a good decision by VAR. So the thing that needs tidied up there is the communication, not the VAR.
That's why he was going to step up here. He's going to take it right-footed. Takes a couple of deep breaths. The referee's clearing the box, making sure everybody's outside. Prior's on his line. Another deep breath by Brian Graham. He's going to come up and take this right-footed. Bang! What a finish that is. Great penalty. 1-0 Falkirk.
I have to say the pictures of Davy Martindale in the dugout, he just can't believe it, can he, Rory? He just looked totally confused.
He will believe. Well, that's a communication issue, because he'll believe it when he sees it back, because it's a penalty kick.
Yeah. The thing is, I can't believe Brian Graham got to take the penalty kick. He's the worst penalty kick taken.
Missed a few, Collie. I was thinking that.
He's done all right.
And he put it in the side. He misses a few.
He's got about a 50-50 ratio. He wants to take the throw-ins, the corners, the penalties.
What's he like to manage, Ian?
He needed managed, but you know what? When you've got a guy that is getting 20 goals plus a season, and you put up with one or two things. But the thing about him is, I said about Dodgy, it's a bit Dodgy. You never had to motivate them. They were just warriors.
That was a breeze for you.
Can I come in and say if only?
Well, you've got different memories than me, Wally. There you are.
Some penalty, by the way. It's a great penalty.
Yeah.
Can you just talk me through what happened for the award of the penalty? So it's an outswinging corner.
Yep.
What's happened?
There was a challenge at the front post, and Stevie May's behind the two players who are going attacking the ball, and he turns his head away as if he's anticipating that the ball's going to come off one of the players in front of him, and as he turns away, his elbow's out from his body and it comes off his elbow and almost clears out of the box from there.
Well, Livy, what a penalty for that challenge on Yengi at the far end. Don't think it'll be given.
Should be a booking. Simulation.
Yeah, there wasn't much in that.
Quite stronger, sure. Yengi, hasn't he? It's against Wilson, I think it is.
See when the penalty, well, when it's happening with Stevie May, does anyone claim for it?
Well, not that we saw. Not that we saw. But the problem was, Alan, of course, in the stadium, I'd imagine we don't think anything's happened in that box. The ball goes up to the other end. There's a challenge between Scott Bain and Stevie May in the opposite box.
Yeah.
Then they announce there's a penalty. So I think the instinct is that a penalty, potentially a penalty to Livingston? Because nothing seemed to be claimed for in the opposite box.
Communication, it's poor, isn't it?
It's really poor.
That's what we're saying about the communication of things.
Yeah, a couple of goals going in elsewhere. Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 0. Jack Duncan in 6 minutes.
For me, yeah, rightly so.
Right, have we look here?
It just lunges in here. Williams it is. On the Livingston. Brennan at the right back.
Yeah.
He overruns the ball and then just lunges in. So right, deserved yellow card for me.
So Brian Graham with that penalty on 60 minutes. Falkirk 1, Livingston 0. We had a couple of early goals in the Championship. Barney Stewart, what a time he's having at Dunfermline. Dunfermline 1, St Johnstone 0. That goal in 8 minutes. And Queen's Park, my goodness, do they need this? Josh Fowler on 13. Queen's Park 1, Wraith Rovers 0.
Brilliant, Kenny. Just the second ball of the afternoon has gone into a hedge. I thought it happened back at the good old days at Glebe Park at Brecon. There's a hedge. I think there might be the woman next door actually. His hedges. Anyway, 2 balls have disappeared into that at Westerhampton.
Kenny, just when you're talking about players making mistakes and the reaction afterwards, and Alan mentioning goalkeepers, the first thing that sprung into my head was we were playing up at Tannadice for St Mirren. We were stranded at the bottom of the league in January with big overhaul. I'd come in January, all the rest of it. We'd built up a bit of momentum. It was a big game at Tannadice. We needed points from it. We were 1-0 up, and Gary McKenzie's passed it back to our goalkeeper who was on loan from England, a younger lad. One of these who was new to the game and tweeting every week, fantastic, see you all next week, and that type of stuff, because he was new to it. And it was bugging Stephen McGinn, shall we say, at the time.
All right.
And the ball gets passed back, and Billy picks it up, clear back pass, don't know what he's thinking. Tony Andrews scores from the indirect free kick in the box, right? So he had the same agent as me. So my agent to say, can you look after him, whatever else. He's coming up for England, young boy, first exposure to first team football. He'd made a few mistakes already. So as we're going into the changing room at the end of the game, I says, Billy, look, you're just going to need to take what's coming here, because the manager's going to go through you. And as we're going in, no joke, he says to me, I couldn't see who passed it back, my vision's no great. I says, do not say that. Do not say that in the changing room. You're the goalkeeper. And before Jack Ross could even get anything out, he's Stephen McGinn tore shreds.
See, we see the mild-mannered, nice boy that Steve McGinn, who sat in the studio many times last season. Don't believe that for a minute.
Loved him on it. And that was part of why he was so good and so influential in the changing room. He didn't say anything that was out of order or not true at the time. It was completely fair what he said, but he let the goalkeeper know. And as I said, that was part of him. He was the captain, he was a leader, and I'm not surprised John McGlynn's got him in as part of his coaching staff, because he didn't step out of line or anything like that, but he did his role as a captain.
What about Jack Ross? As young boys from down south.
His name was Billy O'Brien. He was from down south. He came up on loan. I think he fell out of football pretty soon afterwards, Chick.
Couldn't see.
So Stephen McGinn finished him. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
I don't remember him in the Hall of Fame.
No, but Jack Ross could lose his temper as well. It didn't happen often, but when it was needed, he could do it.
Inverness Cali Thistle 1, Cove Rangers 0. Mitchell Robertson with the goal on 18 minutes. That's you up to date with the latest goal news across the country. Speaking of goalkeepers, actually, just wanted to get your thoughts on this. We touched on this last week on Open All Nights. Of course, Steve Clarke named his Scotland squad for the upcoming World Cup qualifying double header. So the goalkeepers, Craig Gordon, Liam Kelly, Scott Bain. We have a wee chance here.
Decent hit. Livingston it is. It's a hit from the edge of the box. Lewis Smith, good play by Stevie May, who's now sitting down, I'm afraid. Looks like he's picked up a knock. Goes into Smith,
goal, standing. We've got the goal here, it's an equaliser. I think everybody stopped there. I think they thought it may have been offside. It was a free kick played in by Josh Mullen. Wraith Rovers have equalised, just to be clear. Ball virtually fired over the line. I'll clarify the scorer in a minute, as a kind of breathless silence sound here. I don't think they believed it was going to stand. Didn't believe that it would be given, but it has been. Check that score in a minute. If it was a Mullen free kick played in an area, a couple of players went to the far post, ball driven in the net. It is, in any case, Queen's Park 1, Wraith Rovers 1.
Fantastic. A couple of early goals there. Queen's Park 1, Wraith Rovers 1. Another goal coming in Scotland this afternoon. East Kilbride 1, Stirling Albion 0. John Robertson on 20 minutes. Forfar Athletic 1, the Spartans 0. Mackenzie Lemon on 18 minutes with that goal. So let's go round our pundits here. Who gets the shout? Who should get the shout from Steve Clarke as a number one, and why? Rory Loy.
It's quite ironic because the Falkirk fans are singing Scotland's number one. Yeah.
Well, he could be a choice of a few on here, we'll see.
Yeah. It is a tough one.
What a magnificent save, to break in there from Billy Tyrrell. I thought he was done. He had taken a couple of steps off his line. The cross comes in from the right hand side. Sidibe, who is in fire, I don't know how he manages it. It's one of these back headers, because he's way beyond the near post and he just flicks it with the back of his head. It looks as though it's going to loop into the top corner, but a goalkeeper at full stretch manages to get a touch on it. So big chance here for St Johnstone, but fantastic goalkeeping as well. How can he miss it? He has missed it. Sidibe, how does he miss that? He's on fire as well. He's almost scored. The ball falls to him at the angle, left hand side. He swipes at it. The postage stamp, left hand postage stamp is gaping. All he has to do is surely get it on target, and he manages not to make proper contact with it. Does take a little deflection, goes out for a corner, but another big chance for St Johnstone.
Kenny, it was Dara O'Connor who scored that equaliser for Wraith Rovers.
Thanks, Chick. Hamilton Accies 1, Peterhead 0, Kyle MacDonald on 21 minutes. Right, Rory, who should get the shout as number 1?
Good friend of mine, Scott Bain, but I would have to say Craig Gordon. I know Bain's played a lot of minutes for Falkirk and he's done very well, but I think Craig Gordon's the type that can come in and two off game without having played, and his stature, his experience at that level. Difficult situation and circumstance to pick one, but if I was pushed, Craig Gordon.
Julie?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think his experience is invaluable, and I think the quality that he's had and shown over the years, I think he's a professional and he'd be able to step up.
Does it?
I said Liam Kelly last week, and I gave you the reasons why. Just when he come into that game against Bilbao from nowhere and just performed heroically. Now when Craig Gordon gets added and he's if he's fully fit, there'd be no problem with that either.
So Liam Kelly one appearance this season. Liam Kelly one appearance this season. Craig Gordon none.
Yeah. It's a mixture because Liam Kelly has been fit and training all season. Craig Gordon hasn't, but he's shown before he can just come straight in, and the other one's been playing, so it's
tough, isn't it?
It's an unusual situation. I would still probably prompt for Kelly.
Ross County 0, Ayr United 1, Ethan Walker on 23 minutes. The struggles continue for County this season. Willie Miller, who would you go for in goal?
I think Craig Gordon, yeah, purely the quality he's got and the experience that he's got as well. The fact that he's not playing comes into it, but the manager will have a right good look at the three players as well, and he'll assess that too. But for me, I think the experience is vital, and it would be Craig Gordon.
Alan?
I would agree with that. I would agree with what all the guys have said, and Julie as well. I would totally agree. I think, but what I would say is, and it would be a concern, is that goalkeepers, if they don't get real match action, it takes them a bit of time to get themselves up to that. Crosses coming in, catching them at the right time, not being deceived because they're not playing in front of crowds, all of this kind of thing. So it is a completely different position, but I agree with everyone that Craig Gordon will be the number 1.
I think Scott Bain as well, one of his biggest attributes is having the ball at his feet, and I don't think necessarily Scotland at this moment in time with the two games are going to be looking to play out for the back, play through the thirds. Of course you want to try and do that, but it's about winning the games, and I think you want the best possible shot stopper in the goals, and I think that's Craig Gordon.
Ian McCall?
Yeah, Craig Gordon for me. I think it'll all depend on how he looks in training. I think he needs to prove himself that he is spot on fitness. Well, listen, anyway you look at it, Kenny, it's not an ideal situation. In terms of one appearance for Kelly and none for Craig, but you've got to go with experience. If we get a point in Greece, the game at Hampden's quite possibly one of our biggest games for decades.
Yeah, so, can't wait. Let's hope that is the case.
Yeah.
The Greece game first, of course, on the Saturday night. Check who's the best Scotland goalkeeper you've ever seen.
Andy Gorham, I think. I disagree with everybody on the programme. I think Scott Bain made a brave decision. He was clearly not in the picture at Celtic to go and commit to playing and doing well and playing every week. And we keep getting told about it's a match fitness is totally different from general fitness, and he's the one with the match fitness, isn't he, Scott Bain? And I take Rory's point about the ball at his feet, but I'm more interested in a goalkeeper who can keep the ball in his hands, which is going to be a big job, I think, for Scotland in these two games. I would say give him the chance. I know the experience, the talent, obviously Craig Gordon, everything he's done. I think the big farewell substitution when it seemed his career's over was a big mistake at the time, and here he is back in contention. Well done to him, but for me the guy that's playing week after week would be the one I'd be giving the nod to.
Yeah, it's a strong argument. It is such a unique situation to have, Chick, that I think you could build a case probably for all three. So yeah, listen, all the points you've made are valid, so it'll be interesting to see what Steve Clarke thinks.
Right, let's take a bounce.
Nobody's ever said that to me before, Rory.
Well, let you just sit in that for a minute or two when we come back to you. And let's take a bounce around the ground, starting at the Falkirk Stadium. Alan Preston is there for us. Falkirk against Livingston.
Well, Falkirk are leading by 1 goal to 0. They've got a free kick. They're great down this left-hand side. Lisa and Williams are brilliant down here. Really good. The only goal, Kenny, came, as you know, in 16 minutes. It was a Brian Graham penalty after Stevie May handled the ball in the box from a corner. It was given after a VAR decision, but Falkirk have been the better side. Yengi's had a shot, Smith's had a shot for Livingston, but that's been about it. The score at the moment is Falkirk 1, Livingston 0.
And remember, 5:45 start in Paisley, St Mirren against Hibs. Full commentary right here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We're at 3 games in the Championship today. Let's get to East End Park and Fairmont against St Johnstone. Get the latest from Willie Miller.
Yeah, the home side are 1-0 up, Ken, they've taken that early lead. Barney Stewart getting the goal, a really positive run from Matty Todd down the right hand side, drilled it across the face. There was Stewart beyond the near post, but it was a lovely little glancing side footer towards the far post that found the back of the net. But since then it's been St Johnstone. A couple of opportunities. Sidibe had a header, he really had to conjure it because it was way beyond the near post, off the back of the head, it almost looked in to the far post, but Billy Terrell made a fantastic save. And then with the resulting corner, Sidibe had another opportunity. He should have scored. He slashed at the ball, he hasn't showed composure. I mean, it looked easier to put the ball in the back of the net than it did to miss it. So 2 big chances for St Johnstone, so they're fighting back and get most of the possession, but still Dunfermline in the lead at this moment in time.
Right, next stop, Capello, Morton against Arbroath. Let's get latest from Ian McCall.
Well, there's still no goals, Kenny. Not a lot to report. There's not a lot of football played in the middle of the pitch. It's fine, but in both boxes it's pretty poor stuff. The thing, Taylor Stephen and Scott Stewart for Arbroath, they work really, really well. They're right in front of me down the right hand side, and they look really dangerous. But there's a real dearth of scoring chances. It's still 0-0 here, Kenny.
Right, let's get to the game between Queen's Park and Wraith Rovers. A lively old start there, Chick Young.
There's Kenny. It's 1-1 at the moment. Here's a break for Queen's Park though. Offside flag has gone up. The fans round about me don't appreciate that. It was Matt Shields who was cleaned through, actually. The referee said it was a offside decision against them. And yeah, it's 1-1. We've had the opening goal from Josh Fowler after just 12 minutes for Queens. A shock where it was well welcomed by the local patrons at the City Stadium, and then the equaliser came 22 minutes to the clock. Dara O'Connor, free kick played in by Josh Mullen into an area at the far post. 2 or 3 players went for it, and eventually it was Dara O'Connor who forced it over the line to make it 1-1 on the afternoon in a game. There's goal ball number 3 into that hedge. I'm going round there later on.
Right, okay, Chick keeping us updated on all events there. Queen's Park against Wraith Rovers. As I said, one other game in the Championship today, and it's more bad news, you'd have to say, for Ross County. Ross County 0, Ayr United 1. Ethan Walker with that goal on 23 minutes. Just looking at the live Championship table, Airdrie 8 points at the bottom.
Oh, what a magnificent strike! It's the equaliser.
Goal at Morton.
Right, Willie Miller.
Rhys McAleer, what a strike. He's brought down the high boot and he gets a free kick. He's 25 yards out, right hand side. He looks up, he sees that right top postage stamp and he curls one in perfect. So precise, it was laser light, and it ended up in the back of the net to give St Johnstone the equaliser. Well deserved equaliser. It's been coming.
Good stuff. One apiece there. First goal of the day at Capello, Ian McCall.
It was, and what a terrific goal it was. It was for the home side. It's Morton 1, Arbroath 0. They broke down the right hand side, and it was a terrific ball into the box. And I'm looking to see who's finished. That's his centre back. How he got up there, Chris Moore, and he's just swivelled and hit this brilliant volley right off the underside of the bar and burst the net. A fabulous goal on the breakaway. Morton 1, Arbroath 0.
Good stuff. A couple of quick goals there coming in on Sports, and I'll get back to Billy in this in a couple of minutes time. Interesting his thoughts on Ross County, but just as we look at the live table, Airdrie unlucky not to get all 3 points last night. They're on 8, Queen's Park 11, County on 12, and then Morton, that they'll just jump away in a second's time when that table updates. Just to go through the scores in the other leagues. In League 1, Hamilton Accies 1, Peterhead 0, Inverness Carry Thistle 1, Cove Rangers 0, Montrose Montrose 0, Allo Athletic are just gone ahead there. Queen of the South 2, East Fife 0, Stennismuir 0, Kelty Hearts 0. Alan Preston.
Shot by Silla, edge of the box. It's Falkirk. Try to play from the back. That's a really loose pass. Goes to Silla. One touch to control. Right foot shot. I'm right behind that. That's just wide of the target.
Talking about live tables, Kenny, Falkirk currently third, 2 points behind Celtic. I know they've played more games than the rest, not leaving itself out, but third position as things stand for Falkirk in the Premier League.
Fantastic story. I think we're all loving that, and you see no doubt at all. Steve McGinn, we had the opportunity to go back there with John McGlynn as part of the coaching team. He was great in the studio, Steve, but he had to take that opportunity. He's a real fan's favourite of that football club. In League 2, Clyde 0, Stranraer 0, Dumbarton 1, Annan Athletic 0, East Kilbride 1, Stirling Albion 0, Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 0, Forth Athletic 1, Spartans 0. And down in England this afternoon there was that lunchtime kick-off. Just saw some pictures coming to the real drama at the end. It finished Spurs 2, Manchester United 2. Two games kicking off at 3 o'clock. Everton 0, Fulham 0, West Ham United 0, Burnley 0. 5:30 start, Sunderland home to leaders Arsenal. 8 o'clock, Chelsea against Wolves down in England there. So Chris Moore, just confirmation of that goal coming through. Morton 1, Arbroath 0. And just to go back to you, Billy Dawes, just waiting for that goal I just brought you there very quickly. Scott Taggart with that goal for Alloa. Montrose 0, Alloa 1. And County have equalised, Billy, at home to Ayr United. Ronan Hale in 30 minutes. They are badly in need of wins, aren't they, the home side?
Yeah, they need to. And there was a stage, obviously, when Queen's Park scored in the league way. They were second bottom. Go on,
There's a horrible collision between two Falkirk players. One knocks the other one over. It's Henderson's definitely one of them. I'm trying to see who the other one is. It might be Lisa, might be the other one. It's both two physios are on. Hopefully they're okay.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that, keep you updated. It certainly looks a sore one there. Actually, I'm just being told that it's now 2-1 to the home side up there in Dingle, Billy. Jordan
We'll just leave that conversation then, will we?
But it has been a struggle, hasn't it?
No, it has.
Can you get any sense? Because they've got a great squad.
On paper, yeah, and a lot of players that are getting to, I'm not finishing them, but the latter stages of their career. So if you get too many, that can play in their minds. But listen, it's a good bounce back to go 2-1 up against Ayr United, who are one of the main promotion favourites to get in that promotion playoffs, I'm saying. So it's a tough game today, so maybe that's the start of things. But so far this season, they struggle at times with too many kind of experienced players. You can have one or two, absolutely no bother, but I think they bought in the summer and they bought plenty, and I think it's cost them a little bit where the experience. I'm not just throwing it on the experienced ones, but it's not quite worked out for them. What's that?
Legs. You need legs.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting to, Biscuit. I've said that before. Yeah,
Dodgy, I think, I don't know if you agree, I think it was kind of, without being too critical, it was lazy recruitment from Ross County. I thought in the summer, all players who fit the same profile, you know, coming right to the end of their careers. I thought it was lazy. And you look at what Neil Lennon's done. I mean, they spent a bit of money, but the average age, they've got a lot of. I don't expect them to win it this year, but I think there's real improvement in that Dunfermline team.
You definitely need the balance, Collie. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
I think, there was a lot of older ones who had probably done well in the Championship, if not won it. But the one thing you see when these Championship teams and the teams that are doing well, you'll find that they've got legs in their team. So you need to strike that balance. You've got plenty and a good bit of experience, but plenty of youth as well to make sure your team are fit and get about the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Thistle quite a few times this year, covered them. They're bringing in a Letozo and Ben Stanway, a young lad I had. They're two boys who play in midfielder, and they get about the pitch. I mean, they've got good quality as well, but they get about the pitch unbelievably well. And I think in the Championship, obviously you need other things, but you certainly do need that.
Yeah, well, certainly they fought back today. They're 2-1 up.
Ronan Hale as well, Kenny. I was going to say, I mean, he scores every week.
Yeah, great player.
Every single week he scores goals, and he would do a turn for a team in the top flight. So do you think we'll keep a hold of him, Billy?
I can see why they want to. It was probably they're thinking their best chance. I've seen him a few times, Rory, and I've thought can do better on the ball in terms of make sure you hold up, but he's a goal scorer. He scores goals, so how can you argue with that? But sometimes I think going to take part in the game a little bit more, hold it up better. But you know, he scored a lot of goals in the Premiership last year, scored a lot in the Championship, so I can understand why they kept him.
Yes, Al.
Sorry.
At one end, Livingston are what a penalty. Montano goes down in the box, not for me. And Falkirk, as we know, they break at pace. We're just talking about having legs in the team. Great legs. Williams, it is. Shot, good save by Prior at his near post.
I think when you look at when you're a team like Ross County and you're dropped down to the Championship, for me you should be looking at the model that teams that have been successful in the Championship, so the likes of Falkirk, and they don't seem to have kind of followed that type of model where what do you need to get that success? What do you need to get out of the league? And Ross County just seem like a really different side to those who have been successful in getting promotion out of the Championship.
Yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, there's times when the players that they've bought have been on the bench, so that tells you a story in itself. So you need experience, so you need 2 or 3 in your team, definitely. But as the boys have been saying, and Julie just talked about, you need to have that balance where you're getting about, you're a fit team, your experience can guide you through it, and that's been lacking so far because a lot of them have been injured or on the bench.
But what do they do, Dodgy? Because there's some amount of players have signed.
Do you know what? It's a good question because
they're not going to
win it.
Yeah, into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So what do? Do they just keep with what they've got and build for next season?
Well, there's a chance of the playoffs, isn't there? That's where they'll be looking. So it's whether Roy McGregor suddenly goes right. If they win today, they go, what is it, 14? So you're probably looking at the likes of Dunfermline, who are 18. I know they're drawn just now, but Arbroath 21 and A United are not. There are 3 teams in 18. So if you can gather them in, you have a chance of promotion. And as we saw, Livingston last year got to the Premier League through the promotion playoffs. So it might be do you know, Biscuits, it's a good question. I don't know whether he'll go back in for more. If he thinks he'll get a chance of the promotion playoffs, I'm sure he will.
Alan, how have Livingston done since his substitution? I actually thought, despite the penalties, Stevie May was playing really well, as he has done for a number of weeks.
He was playing in the midfield.
Well, I was going to say, it's Andy Shinney's come on for him, a player I played with. He's not as mobile as Stevie May, maybe a slightly better technician, but lost a bit of pace out of the team. Have they changed shape? Have they changed?
No, it's just the same. He's the one who just dropping into that midfield area where Stevie May was, and they've actually done better. Obviously it was a really poor pass by Falkirk, playing it straight to Silla for his shot, but they've had more possession. And since Shinney's come on, that's without a doubt. He's got that roving role just behind the striker, sort of playing in the 10 where Stevie May was playing. So we'll see how it goes.
We had that discussion earlier on who Steve Clarke should choose as his number 1 for this upcoming international double-header. Andy Jackson says it's got to be Craig Gordon. He's an international class goalkeeper. No harm to Scott Bain, but surely Craig Gordon has to start. Saoirse doesn't agree, thinks Scott Bain because he's playing every single week. There's a strong case actually for all 3 of these goalkeepers. Just apologies to Charles Sweeney, who messaged earlier with Bobby Madden. A really good VAR debate in the programme earlier. Said, ask Bobby if Cornelius should have had a red card for his tackle on Johnny Kenny. He caught him hard in the ankle in last week's game. I don't know what the guys think about it, just very quickly in the studio.
I think looking back on it, he was lucky because there was definitely force that Bobby talked about, and he went right over the top of the ball, but it was lower than usual. But I've seen them go for that, and I was going to ask Bobby about the Ralston one because you can debate whether it's a penalty or not, but once it's given, I think he's got to go.
No, actually, Bobby did clear that up, and I didn't know. I didn't know that, Bill. He said the rules have changed, and it's not an automatic yellow card there. Yes, so I saw him actually talk about that during the week. So
the double jeopardy. I think it's a penalty because I don't know if it's not heading towards goal. I'm not sure it's given. I think it's given because there's a good chance it could end up in the net.
Yes.
And then I think the referees the rules have changed. The double jeopardy. There's no need for a yellow in that instance.
But the irony is, if he puts his arm on the ground, it's not a penalty because he's holding himself up. That's his arm, and as long as he's got his arm on the ground.
Yeah, there are certainly a few contentious issues, you'd have to say, last weekend, and also the first St Mirren goal in the semi-final where the ball was moving at the free kick, but the VAR just can't get involved. And I actually try to find a message that somebody sent me last week that I wanted to put to
save.
Alan Preston. Yeah, save where?
Yeah, Smith, he gets to the byline, whips it across. There's Bain, as we were just talking about, at the near post, knocking it away. Decent enough save, clears the box. Still 1-0 to the home side.
Right, just trying to find this message. Alan, it's Andy Morris got in touch with me during the week on social media. He is a Hearts fan. He said, look, James Wilson, youngest ever Scotland player, now 5th choice striker. How mad is that? And that, I guess, comes with this fantastic recruitment at the Hearts, but fewer opportunities for a youngster like Wilson.
Yeah, and that's a shame. It really is. I think that for me it would be James Wilson going out on loan in January, which was, he probably made the first team and certainly the Scotland squad at an early age. You know, I think there was a spell where Ireland could have taken him as well, and he got involved with the Scotland setup because of obviously his family could have gone to Ireland. So he's maybe ahead of the game by getting game time at Hearts, and certain, but I've got to say, last year he'd done really well when he came into the side. He was different class, but the players that Hearts have got now, they're not going to drop Shanklin, they're not going to drop Braga. He finds himself out the squad altogether. He's not even getting stripped, so I think the logical thing for him to do is to be going on loan in January.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Alan. It is a shame, you know, young Scottish talent that's done well last season, but you can't, ultimately you can't have it all ways. He's not as good as Braga, as you said. He's not as good as Shanklin. He may get to that, but he's not there yet. Hearts ultimately see themselves as challenging for the league, so you know that takes precedence at this.
What were you thinking as a young striker at Rangers then? What were you thinking? Well, you're not getting your chance.
Well, it was, you know, I felt for Callum Osmond the other night, I have to say, because I know how difficult it is to get opportunities at Celtic and Rangers now. He finds himself in a predicament where, through injury, through lack of recruitment in that area, he was presented with an opportunity and he took it. You know, I was given 25 minutes after banging in I don't know how many goals in reserves. I didn't I didn't score a goal or take my chance in that 25 minutes, and that's what we're talking about. 18 years of hard work boils down to, can you make a difference in 25 minutes? And that's how cutthroat it is, and he managed to do it, and I was gutted for him the other night. I really was. That he was able to take his opportunity and then kind of cut down. But when I was at Rangers, it was difficult. Kenny Miller, Chris Boyd, Nacho Novo, you know, Sibo coming in, Big Lafferty. You know, I left before obviously the motion to the bottom tier happened, so you're fighting against the tide, and you have to take your 25 minutes here or there. I wasn't able to do it. Callum Osmond was, but
wait a minute, what was that, Alan?
I wasn't here. That was a championship game. He said, "What's wrong, ref? There's no VAR."
Oh, where was that?
Don't know.
It was here, I think.
Was it?
It was in Capello.
Stadium, yeah, it was a boy. It was a boy here, I think.
But just to finish off, to go back to James Wilson on my point, I found it difficult to break through for a number of reasons. But James Wilson did take his opportunity last year. He's just been unfortunate that Hearts have went and recruited such good players, and unfortunately at this moment in time he's behind them.
Kenny, this may sound mad. If you're lucky enough to play into your 30s as a football player, see if you've got 6 or 7 good years of that career, you're doing well. A lot of it's down to injury, manager changes, you fall out of favour, you're not playing well. And in young Osmond's case, he was on such a high on Sunday scoring a goal, and that's how football can slap you in the face.
Well, the thing is, the lad Wilson, terrible. Going out on loan would not, I mean, what age is he? 19, 20?
Yeah,
going out on loan would be, as long as the club was suitable for him, it was a decent level, and the level is such that he's got to be playing. It doesn't matter, you know. I think it's a really, really good idea for the boy.
Yeah, that's
how players develop.
Exactly, and I think that the natural pathway for him would have been to come in, play in the youth team, play in the B team, then probably go out on loan, then get in the first team. That's what they wanted to do. But he got pushed forward, like he took his opportunity at an early age, and he just needs to try and knuckle down. And I think the natural thing for him to do is to go on loan.
That's a question for him. Like, where does he go? Does he go? No, so go on, check.
Yeah, just sorry, but dodgy half time at the City Stadium's Queens 1, Wraith Rovers 1.
I wonder if Colley's hit the nail on the head where it comes to, like, he's got to, if he takes a chance and goes Premiership, maybe a few Premiership clubs would be in for him, especially down the bottom. He might not play. It's the one where he goes, for me, Championship, to make sure he's playing regularly. It's so important to James Wilson.
They have got St Johnstone and Hearts have got this partnership where he can go there. He could go to St Johnstone playing in the Championship, who are top of the Championship at the moment, and if Hearts do get injury problems, they can call him back.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's just interesting. The youngster made such an impression. Let's hope he gets his chance again, whether that's through going out on loan and then coming back in.
Half time, Kenny, at Capello, 1-0 to the home side.
Thanks, Ian. Stennismuir 0, Kelty Hearts 1. Riku Diak with a goal there for the away side. Hamilton Accies 2-0 up now at home to Peterhead. Ollie Shaw on 41 minutes. West Ham United equalised at home to Burnley. Callum Wilson on 44. One apiece there. And that's you up today. Just very ruthless. I know he tunes in. He's always messaging during the programme. You mentioned the strikers you're behind at Ibrox. Was Boydie as noisy back in the days he is now? As loud? As opinionated?
Certainly not as busy as he is now.
Well, to be fair, I didn't make many two appearances, 25 minutes as a touch on, but I was in and around the squad for 5 years really. He was a character. He's one of these guys in the dressing room that lifts the dressing room with it, whether it be having a go pop at somebody or whether it be just being lively and loud. But he was good to have about.
He's good value, I have to say. So just approaching half time. Still playing there at East End Park, Willie?
We are, yeah. It's quite a tight affair. Been a couple injuries here, so we're playing a little bit of time added on. Still 1-1 and a good game of football. Both sides are trying to get forward as early as they possibly can. There's not too much dwelling at the back, and I think football's maybe changing a little bit this season. I would suggest that they're not playing the slow build-up game. They're more intent in getting it forward, and it's certainly a lot enjoyable for the Kenny here. 6,894 fans.
Brilliant, Willie. Yeah, fantastic. These two sides. I'm quite excited.
Half time, by the way, 1-1.
Thanks, Willie. I think, as Ian said earlier on, it's quite an exciting thing that's happening at Dunfermline, and the football from St Johnstone this season at times has been an absolute joy to watch. Actually, that game, it was a Friday night game up at McDermott Park, where it was. Remember, it was finished 2-1, didn't it? St Johnstone against Dunfermline. Remember, because at the start, St Johnstone were all over them, and then Dunfermline went ahead just before the break. It was a brilliant game that night. And do you know what I loved watching that game that night?
Goals change games, eh?
No VAR.
Yeah, do you know what, Alan? Watching at home and not celebrating the goals, but loving when the goals were in and not thinking, is that a goal? Is that a goal? But listen. To be fair, we saw the benefit of VAR, Alan, in your game earlier on, because no one spotted that handball that led to the penalty.
No, not at all. I will look forward to seeing it later on later on tonight. If Sports Scene's on, I'll look forward to seeing it. If not, I'll see it tomorrow.
Yeah, Sports Scene's on tonight. The game, obviously, you're at today, and then the late start.
And just as a half-time whistle goes here, 1-0 to Falkirk.
Right, thank you to Alan Preston. So what we'll do is we will get reports from the guys at the 4 games we're at today. I'll give you all the half-time scores from right across the country, and just a reminder, what a game it should be in Paisley tonight. 5:45 start, St Mirren against Hibs. That's on BBC Radio Scotland. We're on the telly today, BBC Scotland, BBC One Scotland. We are on from 4:30 until 5:20.
Open all mics on FM and BBC Sounds.
Live on Sports Sound.
Chance, goal! Goal! That is a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
She flew across the world for her sister's wedding.
We didn't think you were coming.
Surprise! But ended up at her funeral.
I'm questioning how and why she fell.
In a community full of secrets, Mia wants answers.
So the policewoman's married to the undertaker?
Yeah.
And the policewoman who doesn't want a post-mortem is the half-sister to the fiancé that was the last person to see my sister alive.
That about sums it up.
How far would you go for family?
Do you know what happened to her up there?
I don't.
Then we have to find out.
The Ridge. Watch all episodes now on BBC iPlayer.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. There's a choice of listening today. We've got the pictures coming in from Murrayfield, the Autumn International Series. 33 minutes played, Scotland 0, New Zealand 10. So we are focusing on the football here on BBC Radio Scotland on Sports, and 4 games covered on Open the Mics for you this afternoon. 1 game in the top flight. Falkirk home to Livingston. Let's get the half-time report from Alan Preston.
At half-time, Kenny, it's Falkirk 1, Livingston now, and the only goal in that opening period was one that was baffling to many fans in this stadium. It was a corner to Falkirk. It was clearly cleared up the other end. There was a collision between Scott Bain and Stevie May, but when the referee was asked to go and look at VAR, he gave a penalty kick against Stevie May. Apparently Stevie's hit the ball with his elbow. Penalty kick to Falkirk, and Brian Graham stepped up and smashed the ball into the back of the net for 1-0. Lewis Smith then had a shot over for Livingston. Spencer shot wide after a really poor header by Silla, put it into the path of the Falkirk captain, and his shot just went wide of the target. But Silla tried to equalise when his shot just went wide, and Scott Bain diving full length to his right hand side. Then just before half time, Williams had a shot saved by Prior. It's been a decent game here. Falkirk just deserve to be ahead, but this game's not over yet. Falkirk 1, Livingston 0.
Alan, is it Henderson that's the Falkirk number 5? I can't. Henderson. It's bloody pictures here, because actually we're getting a replay in the studio, and it's important to explain this, as you say, Alan, to those in the stadium with no idea what was going on. So it was a clear handball, as Julie described earlier, at the near post. One person claimed for it. Liam Henderson was very close to it. Right away he's got his hands up claiming to the referee, but there was no one else, and the ball was cleared up to the other end. There was an incident in the opposite box, and as you say, called back, and the correct decision in the end. And just watching the replay of the penalty now, you'll see that in Sports watch scene this evening. Fantastic penalty from Brian Graham there. So 3 games we are covering in the Championship for you this afternoon. First up, East End Park, Dunfermline at home to St Johnstone. Let's hear from Willie Miller.
Yes, it's Dunfermline 1, St Johnstone 1, so all even at half time, and pretty much, if I'm looking at the first 45 minutes, that kind of reflects the passages of play. I thought that Dunfermline started the game really well, but St Johnstone came back into it and probably have had the slightly more chances, but it was the home side that took the lead. Barney Stewart managing to make a fantastic run in front of Jack Baird, and get in front of him. He is beyond the near post as Matty Todd drills the ball in, but all it needs, doesn't need much, it just needs accuracy, just needs to get that side foot on it, and he's picked out the back post, and that's where it ends up to give them Dunfermline at that time a lead that they deserved. But St Johnstone came back into it. Sidibe in particular, I mean, he can score goals. Yes, he can score goals. He's a workhorse as well, Kenny. I mean, he's all over the place, both offensively and defensively. So he's been outstanding for St Johnstone. But they got one back in 30 minutes. It was Rhys McAleer that was taken down outside the box, some 25 yards outside. He got a fair bit of treatment, maybe about 2-3 minutes worth of treatment. He stood up and he decided, well, what am I going to do with this 25 yards free kick? I'm going to put it in the top corner. What a magnificent strike this was. Right foot, a little bit of curl on it, the near top post he's stamping it, rattled in to the back of the net. Not too many chances other than that. Sidibe had that magnificent header, but it was equally matched by a Billy Tyrrell save, full stretch, as it looked as though it was going to lob over his head, and then Sidibe missing a real big opportunity. Should have done much better close in. At half time it's 1-1, and I think that reflects what has been a very entertaining first half in front of 6,894.
Fantastic, that game living up to the billing that Willie gave it pre-match. Next stop, Capello Morton at home to Arbroath. Let's get the half-time report from Ian McCall.
Hi Kenny, yes, it's Morton 1, Arbroath 0. Not much happened in the first half an hour. I mean, I think without dominating Arbroath with a better team, Taylor Stephen and Scott Stewart were really looking dangerous, combining down the right hand side. Then out of nowhere, just 2 or 3 minutes later, 33rd minute, a great break down the right from Aaron Comrie, and he's delivered a brilliant cross in. And Chris Moore, the centre back of Morton, I think had stayed up from a corner, and he got on the end of it and he finished like a striker. It was a right footed volley from about 6 yards. It fairly burst the net. Other than that, there's been no real chances at either end apart from that magnificent goal. Highlight for the Morton fans is the appearance of Jim Holmes at half time, who I think only Willie Miller and Chick Young will know who Jim Holmes is.
Well, aye,
but I played in a game here when Jim Holmes nutmegged Grant Jenkins, my teammate at Dunfermline, 3 times in the first half from right back. What a player. 1-0 to the home side.
Fantastic, great memories I'm sure there for the fans. Let's then get to the game that Chick is at, Queen's Park against Raith Rovers, and get the half-time report.
Yeah, the great team that started: Baines, Hayes and Holmes, Andy Ritchie, Roddy Hutchison, Bobby Russell, the Beast. I could go right through that team.
I'm coming out in a sweat, Chick. I'm coming out in a sweat.
Well, I used to go down and see you tortured at Capello on a Saturday when you were alleged best team in the country.
Correct. Europe, by the way.
Meanwhile, back at the City Stadium, in the real world, it's Queen's Park 1, Raith Rovers 1. The opening goal from Josh Fowler after just 12 minutes, did well to finish. The goalkeeper might have done a little bit better, but the equaliser came 10 minutes later. Free kick swung in from Josh Mullen to the far post from the right side. 2 or 3 players went for it, and it was Dara O'Connor who got the final touch and got it into over the line for an equaliser of Raith Rovers. It's been eaksy-peaksy, to be fair. I thought the first spell it was all the Rovers, but Queen's Park have battled their way back into it, interestingly enough. Bit of spirit about them, but at half time 1-1. While I wander back to 1979 and in my happy time, Kenny.
Listen, we can't wait for the book, Chick. We've all said that. Dunfermline 1, St Johnstone 1.
You know the deal.
Yeah, give us the line again. Give us the line again.
I said, when Biscuits was trying to get me, why don't you write your life story? I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a lot of people, and let's call it 5 or 10 grand per head, and you won't be in the book.
Right, okay. Dunfermline 1, St Johnstone 1.
Prices get up.
Morton 1, Arbroath 0. Queen's Park 1, Raith Rovers 1. Ross County 2, Ayr United 1. Ayr United had gone ahead there through Ethan Walker in 23 minutes, but 2 quick-fire goals. Ronan Hale and Jordan White on the half-hour mark as Tony Docherty's side ahead there at the break. Let's look at Scottish League 1. Hamilton Accies 2, Peterhead 0. Inverness Cardiff Thistle 1, Cove Rangers 0. Montrose 0, Alloa Athletic 1. Queen of the South 2, East Fife 0. And a surprise scoreline here, Stenhousemuir 0, Kelty Hearts 1. Into League 2, Clyde 0, Stranraer 0, Dumbarton 1, Annan Athletic 0, East Kilbride 1, Stirling Albion 0, Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 0, and Forfar Athletic 1, Spartans 0. And in England there was a very dramatic lunchtime kick-off. It finished Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 2. Half-time scores: Everton 1, Fulham 0, West Ham United 1, Burnley 1. 5:30 start, Sunderland at home to Arsenal. 8 o'clock, Chelsea are at home to Wolves, who are really struggling this season. Julie Fleeting, Rory Loy and Billy Dodds alongside me here in the studio. Julie, just before I head back to second half action across the country today, just we're seeing the pictures coming in from that game at Falkirk, and just as you were saying earlier on, they are so good to watch. They're so quick in the attack. They move it really quickly, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and they're also very good when they win the ball back from a defensive position where they commit numbers forward. They're quick in that transition, and I think that's something that Livingston really need to be careful of. I think against Kilmarnock they were very good at it last weekend, and it's certainly one of their strengths.
I'm not sure he's been a standout this season, Rory, but I really like watching Brad Spencer. I think he's a terrific player.
It's difficult to stand out at times when you do the role he does, but I tell you now, the players around him will appreciate the work he does, and the fans at the Falkirk Stadium who go week in, week out will appreciate what he does. You know, he doesn't often do anything too special or fancy with the ball, but what he does do is read the game extremely well. Very, very rarely gives the ball away, and he anchors that midfield exceptionally well, and he's the captain as well. So John McGlynn, Stephen McGinn and the rest of the coaching staff obviously think an awful lot of him, and quite rightly so, because he's been pivotal to Falkirk's rise up the divisions.
Would you have concerns, Alan, around the options that Davy Martindale's got at the top of that? Actually, Alan's not just a second, Billy, at the top of the park that Davy Martindale's got, the lack of options?
At times, yeah, they don't score loads of goals, and then with Stevie May having to go off, I know he's played in behind, as Alan was saying. You would think that it would maybe need a little bit more. Yengi's not shown enough yet either. Wakacha, is it, that who's the other striker, scored the other week there from the penalty spot. They don't score loads of goals. It's hard to get goals at Livingston. They have a choice of 3, but nobody's really getting them 10, 15 goals a season, and that's the thing they're missing. But you would worry because they don't create a load of chances, so they need goals for somewhere if they're going to stay in the division, Kenny.
What about the Championship then, Rory? It's a fantastic league. We all love the Championship. Some great action. There was a good game last night. Real drama, of course, right at the end between Airdrie and Partick Thistle. I don't think there's any doubt that most people right from the start of the season that St Johnstone is favourites. Willie's been raving.
I said Ross County.
And do you know what? I feel a bit better now, but I asked you guys, but I was doing off the ball, so I asked Stuart and Tam, says, what are your predictions? So this is a Saturday morning ahead of the opening day, and I said Partick Thistle, of course, were up to Saints and got absolutely hammered. Thankfully, they're on their way back. So
give us a pat in the back. I said County as well.
Just to County, I mean that's such a shock, and we touched on it earlier on. But St Johnstone, it's the options they've got at the top end of the park, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a good manager who's playing good football, but you know they're tied with Dunfermline today. Partick Thistle drawn last night. Some shout for you that, Kenny. Partick Thistle, I don't think many would have tipped them.
It's just a League Cup campaign. That's they're a good League Cup campaign.
That doesn't always translate though. No, it seems to have done for Partick Thistle. But no, listen, it'll be as competitive as always. From a neutral standpoint, I don't want anyone to run away with it. You want that excitement, but I think Ayr and Dunfermline, and you know, if Ross County can get it together. You know, the thing is, there's so many competitive teams in that league that St Johnstone will be playing one of them most weeks, so they're never going to have an easy ride, and I think it'll be extremely competitive, and any team, including St Johnstone, will do well to win the league comfortably. I don't see that happening.
Ian, you've seen a fair bit of Partick Thistle for us on Sports Sound this season. Do you fancy Thistle's chances of reeling in St Johnstone? You there, Ian? Not there at the moment. He's maybe away for a pie or something. No, Mr. McCall. Nah, no, Mr. McCall. He'll be having a wee
I don't know what he's away for, but anyway, I'll wait till he's on the show before I start slagging him. I'll do what he does to me, slag him right to his face.
And do you know what? That reminds me of something I meant. I can't remember if I brought this up in the programme, but I know what you're going to say. He's out having a wee cigarette, probably, as Mr. McCall. But I remember being at, it was a Pilsen game. I walked out the ground with Derek Ferguson, and Rangers were playing Pilsen, and there were 3 Pilsen players at the front door having a cigarette. And I thought, how common is that now in football?
I think you'll get plenty of smokers,
yeah,
who do it for nerves. It's weird. I mean, when I played, I'll tell you, we played France at Hampden, and we could beat 3-0, 2-0, sorry. I mean, never touched the ball, just running about, chasing them all night. I mean, the top stars. And I come out, and the midfielder, I forget his name, long ponytail for Arsenal. He was just
Manuel
Petit. And he was standing there. I don't know where he was going, but he just played 90 minutes. I comes out to make a phone call in the Hampden Tunnel, and Petit's standing there with his old biker's gear on, with a glass of red wine and a fag. I swear to God, I was like...
My roommate in the Scotland team, I used to waking up and she would be up early doors, hanging out the window, having a morning cigarette before we went training.
Did you go crack up at her? Just
I was just shocked that night when I saw the players do it outside.
I think it's a nervous thing, Kenny. I think
maybe it's a calm the nerves thing. Right, all the action to come on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
Open all mics on FM and BBC Sounds.
Live on Sports Sound.
Chance, goal! That is a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. You can just see the teams coming back out there at the Falkirk Stadium, Alan. It feels right now, even though it's only 1-0, a long way back for Livingston. What does Davy Martindale need to change in this game?
I think they need to be more aggressive, Kenny. I really do. I think that they've let Falkirk play now. Good on Falkirk. They've played well. They're down that left-hand side. They've been magnificent. I think they need to create more, try and connect more, push the back 4 up a bit, midfield up a bit. The striker's very, very isolated. It's difficult for them. So I think they just need to get more in the faces of Falkirk and make it uncomfortable for them. But Falkirk, really talented squad. This should be, but wait and see what happens in the second half. But that would be my advice from Davy Martindale.
Yeah, let's
Kenny,
get...
I'm just going to say what you're talking about. I was asked, I remember filming the Croatian team with playing against Ireland, and me and the cameraman, Billy Prue, who you remember, God rest him,
yes.
Billy's passed away now, but we were over doing a preview, staying in the team with the Croatians. They were brilliant, absolutely nice guys. And anyway, Davor Shuka, who was wanting to buy a decent cigar from the humidor in the hotel we were staying in, and I took him in to advise the cigar selection, which seems utterly and completely bizarre now. I like a good cigar, and Davor and I enjoyed a Cohiba or something.
Will you tell them all your stories, Chick?
At least they would get to sleep early.
What are you charging him for the book, Chick?
I think the biggest problem in the game is snooze now. That snooze that they all seem to be taking. That's a real bugbear.
Who's he playing for now?
I've seen a lot of that.
Actually, snooze, good player.
Was it Billy that was your cameraman, Chick, in the infamous interview you were talking about last week? The Walter Smith.
Oh, was that Walter? Oh, yeah, it was Billy.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Great character.
Oh, what a hit and a save, but there's a player down.
Oh.
Referee stops the play for obviously a head knock, but what a hit that is for the edge of the box. Really good save from Prior, but the whistle's gone.
Yeah, the whistle had went a good few seconds before the strike came in. I think it's a head knock, or it looks like it's holding his head. Difficult to see who it is. He looks okay though.
Finlayson, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Was some strike though, wasn't it? Here we go. Here, just watch.
Just gets a head on it, does he?
Talking about goalkeepers as well, Livingston have got a good one in Jerome Prior, so they have. He'll save them a few points this season.
Yeah, he looks decent, just waiting for that. So waiting for this replay shot, it never came. Right, let's get to Willie Millard and Fermer against St John's. He's seen he's seen a fair bit of Saints this season for us. I know you like what you see. Would you make them fairly strong favourites for the title? That they've got so many options up the top of the park, haven't they?
They do, Ken. I think all round they've got plenty of options. They play a nice attacking style of football as well. They don't mess about with it too much at the back. I think it's quite entertaining. And Sidibe in particular is a striker that I really enjoy watching. As I said earlier, you know, he's a real worker. You know, he gets himself about the field of play, and you know, he can finish as well. Watch him taking his 3 goals last week as well, real quality goals that he scored too. So they do have, and they've got the big Ikpeachu as well. What a man mountain he is. He came on last week. So once Sidibe has finished running about the park, he'll come on and then he'll just batter people.
Would he get passed on to McLeish, would he?
I wouldn't go anywhere near him. Nowhere near him. He's a man mountain.
He is huge, I have to say.
Such a big, powerful striker. So yeah, they've got plenty of options up top.
Yeah, very, very good side. Well, just while we were chatting here, we before 3 o'clock, we look back on an overall very disappointing night for our clubs in Europe. Aberdeen, of course, being the exception. I was in here with you the previous round of fixtures when they got an absolute doing against Athens.
Oh, here's a chance for Falkirk to go 2 up. Oh, he's just dallied on it. What a chance that is.
Talk us through it, Alan.
Calvin Muller, it's a kick from Scott Bain. Scott Bain collects it, kicks it early. Calvin Muller's through, you think, go on. But he just dilly-dallies on it and allows the defender to get back, make the challenge. But what a chance.
Yeah, you wouldn't see Livy coming back from 2-0 down if that had gone in there. I was with you the previous round of fixtures when they got absolute doing in Athens. You said it could have been double figures comfortably that night. I think we're all a bit fearful the other night, but it was a decent result in the end. What did he change, the manager? What worked?
Well, I think it was more of the approach to the game, Kenny, that he changed. He wasn't so adventurous, particularly in the early part of the game, than he was in Athens. I mean, in Athens, you know, he's taken the game, to the opposition, and I think in these games you've got to kind of manage your way into the game. You've certainly not got to give the opposition any encouragement, and they were 2 down within 8 minutes, I think it was, over in Athens. But in Larnaca it was a much more controlled kind of a start to the game, and throughout the game, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think Larnaca were particularly good side. You know, when I'm watching them, I thought they lacked aggression and pace, particularly in the second half. They seemed to be quite happy with the draw, but Aberdeen were much better, and they posed a threat as well. You know, they posed a threat. Milanovic should have got one towards the end. What an opportunity he had, and it might have even been better than the draw. But I think it's a depressing night for Scottish football when you're talking about a draw being the best result that we've got. We're through. We're 3 teams in the competition.
Shamrock Rovers drew with AK Athens. Last minute goal in Athens.
Did you see the statistics though? They get battered. I mean, basically.
Willie, come on. Willie, you're old school. You would say statistics, you can dress them up how you like. The biggest one's the score.
I'm just telling you, have a wee look at the statistics.
I thought you'd have come out, Willie, like Larnaca beat Crystal Palace.
Well, they did. I don't know how.
I can't believe you've not come out with that as a defence.
I know, but on the evidence of what I watched on Thursday night, I don't know how they've managed to do that, but they did. You're right, and maybe they just took the foot off the gas. Maybe they were okay with the draw, thinking that they've already qualified.
Maybe Aberdeen were really good, Willie.
Take things too far.
Always got to go too far.
I mean, the concern, Alan, as we've spoken about this in the programme before, is this coefficient. Is it going to hit the season after next? It's going to be really, really awful actually for our sides competing in Europe in terms of the competitions will be in. We're currently 18th in the coefficient table, and that's a concern, Alan, isn't it? The really poor results this season.
It's a big concern, Kenny, and let me just tell you, Hibs fans are worried about Hearts' league position. My neighbour, who's an avid Hibs fan, has been looking into this and says you'll need to win 6 games if you win the league to get in the
Wait a minute, something's happening in the south side of Glasgow. Goal.
Double save, incredible double save. I thought it was going in the corner. Thought it was going in the corner again. It was Ray Robertson good forward. Great serve, double save by Callum Ferry. Gets on from the bar, gets around the post, gets back in again. Another header. This hits the bar again, deals with it again. It's still 1-1.
Thanks to Chick. Yes, Alan, just finish your story.
No, I'll just say my neighbour said to me you'll need to win 3 ties to get in the Champions League group stages, so he's clearly concerned. He's taken all that time to study it.
Alan, do you think Davy Gray and the Hibs side, having watched Aberdeen this season in the Conference League will be even more disappointed about that Scottish Cup final result? Because do you think they would have felt they could have made more of an impact?
Without a doubt, and you look at what Hibs done against Midtjylland.
Yeah.
Hibs were brilliant over the games against Midtjylland. Really unlucky to go out. They were excellent, and then Midtjylland go and wipe the floor with Celtic.
I'm not having any of that chat about a disappointing Scottish Cup win for Aberdeen, by the way.
I meant in Edinburgh, Willie, not so much in Aberdeen.
I mean, the thing is, Billy, we spoke about it earlier on. I mean, Rangers have just been awful generally this season, bar a couple of maybe half decent performances. But for me, the big story is a drop off for Celtic. If you think of the Bayern Munich, I was in here that night covering the game. You know, they were so close that night, and where they are now.
I think that's even more infuriating with the money they've got in the bank. I think that's what's infuriating the Celtic fans. Go on out.
I'll just say as Williams cutting in, whips it across. I think it's a shot. Graham gets on the end of it. Can't direct it near the goal, goes out for a by kick, but decent play again by Falkirk. Livy need to do better if they want to get back in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Julie, what do you make of it?
Got to do better there. I think he's got to score.
I didn't see the replay of that. Yeah, big chance.
Comes a player like, I don't know what Billy and Julie think, but a player like Brian Graham's quality, it comes in quick, but
it comes in very quick. He needs to get it on target.
Yeah. He doesn't need to do an awful lot either because of the pace is on the ball already. He just needs to redirect the ball in the direction of the goal.
Concentrating the contact, wasn't it?
Just, Jill, I want to get your thoughts on the disappointing European performances this season. Just update some goals that are going in around the country. So Ross County now 3-1 up, fighting back from a goal down. Jordan White with the second of the game. County 3, Ayr United 1. Spartans equalised with 4 for 1 apiece. Camera. So Alan.
A really good play by Livingston there. It's Bokila. Ball in his feet. Montano good run into Bokila. He beats a couple of Falkirk men. I thought Bain got a touch. Referee says no, by kick. Really good play by Bokila.
Yeah, at least they're threatening now. Hamilton Accies 3, Peterhead 0. Ollie Shaw on 15 minutes. That's you up to date with all the goals. Julie, it's just really disappointing. When I've been doing the games, I don't think you've gone to them with a lot of positivity. You know, you're not expecting much now, which is really depressing given some of the amazing results like your Celtic had last season, Bayern Munich, and Rangers, of course, in recent league seasons in the Europa League.
Yeah, I think for me, it has been a bit of a, I don't know if I would say shock, but more of a surprise because of how well Celtic had performed last year and very narrowly missing out and progressing within the Champions League. And Rangers have been famously had their best performances at times in the Europa League. So it has been a bit surprising the way things have gone. I think when you look at their league form, they have just seemed to carry that into Europe, which hasn't always been the case. And, I mean, Thursday night, Aberdeen, I thought they were unlucky not to nick it in the end, which would have been the one shining light from that evening's European football for the Scottish clubs. But it's just been so disappointing, and you're desperately wanting people to be interested in our game, and when the teams don't perform in Europe, you feel like it's kind of taken a bit of a hit.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Have a look at this one. Yep. I don't know who handles this. Is it Adams or is it Yengi? It's a free kick. It's outside. Listen, it's not going to be a penalty or that. But
he's giving it against Adams, isn't he?
I thought it was Yengi that hit it.
It's Adams' right arm, but it's down by his side. I mean,
both of their arms are together, though, Billy.
Yeah,
it's hard to.
It's a nothing foul. You could have let it go, probably.
Yeah.
Bit better from Livy in the second half, Al?
Slightly, yeah. They're putting themselves about more. Created that chance at Bokila as well. Starting to get Montano forward when they can. They need more from Yengi. He's a big, powerful unit. Sorry, Willie, I know you're saying that as well. But they do. You know, Yengi doesn't do enough for me for Livingston.
Right, let's get to the game. Let's bring in Willie. The game there at East End Park, Dunfermline against St Johnstone. It's still very, very tight there, Willie.
It's anybody's. Kenny, Ayr have come out with a lot of fire in their belly in the second half, and they created a couple of opportunities, but you know, St Johnstone have kind of dampened their fire a little bit, and they've played well. It's been going end to end. It really is anybody's game. It's so finely poised and balanced, and you know, there's a lot of intent to get forward, which is a good aspect of it. The fans are really enjoying the fact that there is a lot of action in each penalty box, but so far they haven't had the quality in the penalty box other than the couple of goals. That strike from the free kick from McAleer was quite something special. So we've had that quality. So we're still waiting to see if the quality actually shows itself and they break the deadlock here. It's even, it deserves to be even, but it's a good game of football.
Yeah, Dunfermline Athletic 1, St Johnstone 1 there. Let's get to Capello. Ian McCall is down there for us. Morton against Arbroath. Disappointed in what you've seen from the away side given the great season they've had so far, Ian?
Yeah, it's certainly in the box, like going forward and making chances, but what I will say, I'd be worried if it was Airdrie or Queen's Park, because I don't see this Arbroath side going down. I know they're in a really healthy position just now. Morton have been they're bringing on Garrity for Robertson, as you come to me, and they've been the better team. Listen, it's been a fascinating game, but there's just been a real lack of goal scoring opportunities at either end. Morton are starting to turn the screw a little bit, dominate a little bit, but without ever making a clear-cut scoring opportunity. The one goal was a centre back with a right foot volley from about 8 yards into the roof of the net. So it's a decent enough game, just not enough goal scoring chances. Still 1-0 to Morton.
Has anyone played part-time football? I'm just wondering about how big an achievement this is for Arbroath, how competitive they are, because it challenges these players with full-time jobs. I'm guessing they can't always make it in match days, or it's tough, isn't it?
It's different now though, Kent. Right. I can come into that. I played at Queen's Park when I started, but that was 82 or 81 or 3 or something.
Eddie Hunter?
Oh, don't remind me. God rest him. He's a top man for me, but goodness me, mental. But I think it's a bit different now. I mean, I think I think it's hard to do what Arbroath do in terms of getting into the Championship and really competing well. But when you go down into League One, I think the part-time, the full-time level of player at that level, there's 2 or 3 full-time clubs now, I think, in League One. I don't think they earn any more than part-time players, and I think like Tom O'Brien I keep talking about, he'll have earned really, really decent money at a part-time level over the years, or because he was quite clearly good enough to go and play with one of the bigger clubs. He'd slotted into St Mirren's team and that level of football, no problem. So it is a great achievement to do what they're doing in the Championship. But the days of the full-time players being way fitter than part-time players, I think are long gone.
Yeah, I mean, I was at Dumbarton for a very, very short spell. I was there for a year, but I prolapsed disc in my spine, so I never really played. My back was done in. But there's big differences. Obviously, I was full-time for 16 years, so going to that was a bit more difficult for me, because I'd never experienced it before. I turned up to pre-season, there was half a squad there, and a lot of the boys didn't do pre-season with the club because they were only getting paid 42 weeks a year. Were you working apart when you were part-time football? Were you also working? When I went to Dumbarton, they had owners who owned a railway company. Now I was thinking, right, it's time to think about after football. Rovers had offered me a contract, and I thought, you know what, I need to start looking at what's next. So I tried that. I didn't particularly enjoy it. I've moved on to do other things away from football since then. But yeah, I was working on the railways, and that was a difficult spell because the boys would play on a Saturday and go and do their night shift on a Saturday night. So it was tough going, and it's difficult for managers at part-time level, I'd imagine, if they're working Tuesdays and Thursdays and things like that. But it can be done. There's been a lot of successful managers who've battled against all the odds at part-time level. Yeah, and listen,
I think it was Dick Campbell that always wanted to be the best part-time team in Scotland, and he used to mention it every time. He would say it all the time.
Just a few times.
There's a pressure on the full-time clubs as well.
Dodgy.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry,
no, that was a joke. I
thought it was a beef there.
I'm not nasty like Ian.
There is a pressure on the full-time clubs. So I noticed it at Falkirk when I was in the Championship. If you play against a part-time club, there is an expectation there, and some of the players with the wage disparities is not that great choose to be part-time. There are some right good sides, and it's not always as easy as people make out to play against them.
Annan Athletic have equalised with Dumbarton. Josh Dixon on 56 minutes. Queen of the South 3, East Fife 0. Curtis Guthrie on 58 minutes.
Book him here.
Have a look at this out.
Have a look at this as well. Bakila goes into a challenge with Henderson. Henderson's lying on the ground. Bakila's been booked. It's a heavy challenge. Yellow card.
Right, we're still waiting on a replay.
It's fine.
Yeah, still waiting to see it. He's pleading his case, Bakila, anyway.
Here we go.
Does he lead with the arm?
Yeah,
that's what they're
saying.
That's harsh. Perfectly entitled to go for the ball there,
he's certainly entitled to challenge for it, but I think it's the fact that he has got his arm and he's leading with it, that the referees had an issue with.
There's not much in it though. He does lead a bit, but it's just a contact where he's probably top of his shoulder. It's not even into his face. And
David Martindale would be screaming at him, Billy, if he didn't try and nod that in.
Yeah, going to attack it.
Scotland are on the scoreboard in the rugby at Murrayfield. Scotland 7, New Zealand 17. 46 minutes played there. Let's get to Chick. He's watching the game between Queen's Park and Wraith Rovers. What's happening, Chick?
Still 1-1, Kenny. Remember that Queens took the lead after 12 minutes. Josh Fowler, the scorer, Darragh O'Connor equalising 10 minutes after that. Into the second half, it's been Wraith Rovers who I think have been chipping away at Queens, trying to create something, trying to get a shot on target. They've had most of the ball. Some of the pass in midfield's been fine. Excellent surface at the City Stadium, but at Queen, some of the football for Wraith's been good without actually tormenting the goalkeeper. There's a break on for Queen's Park at the moment. I think that's their best chance this afternoon, is to try and hit Wraith Rovers on the break, because they've been hemmed in for a lot of the match. Still even Steven, the one apiece.
Thanks to Chick there down in the south side of Glasgow. Queen's Park took the lead there through Josh Fowler in 13 minutes. Darragh O'Connor equalising on 22 minutes. One other game in the Championship today. Ross County 3, Ayr United 1. Ethan Walker with the opener for the Wayside on 23. Ronan Hale on 30. Jordan White with a double, 32 and 51 minutes. That's you up to date with the latest scores across the country this afternoon. Just want to touch on one other thing just before we go on to television in the next few minutes. You know, the situation at Celtic and looking for a new manager. I found it really interesting watching the dynamic in the park when it went to extra time last week, Billy, you know, and it was Sean Maloney that was in there, you know, and Martin O'Neill almost in the periphery of things. It seemed quite. I thought he'd be the motivator, you know. That's where I would expect Martin O'Neill to be like. What he'd be like, I don't know. Do you think now you can see he might get the cup final and that will probably be it? Or could you would never write
it off with Martin O'Neill. I think anybody that knows the game knows that he is a bit of a figurehead and he is a motivator, but maybe at that time in extra time, Kenny Grinty, they needed a few tactical points, and it's Sean Maloney who's got them in to try and point out a few things quickly. There's no doubt Martin O'Neill's a motivator. It was a big setback losing during the week, but you could see that Celtic team in an instant, as soon as he became manager, up to pace tenfold. I mean, incredible the way they were playing, just slow pedestrian, and suddenly it's like intensity on and out of possession, in possession, and it was I mean, the way they blew Falkirk away, who we've talked about doing well, and then the intensity they kept going at with Rangers. It wouldn't surprise me if Martin O'Neill probably wanted to stay, but he's just keep on knocking it away. I don't think he will. I think they'll get a new manager, but the more they keep on doing well, and if he can sustain it, I know it's been a bit of a setback losing in Europe. If they can sustain it and Martin O'Neill's hanging about and they're still playing to a certain level with that intensity, I wouldn't rule out him staying, just with a couple of things he said.
So, Kenny, can I just say, you know, it's an absolute nonsense for anybody to say Martin O'Neill doesn't know things tactically. I mean, that's just a nonsense.
No, I'm not saying that. Do you not think it looked quite strange when you saw the pictures?
I mean, I think even in his heyday, he didn't go in the grass all the time, but he was always there.
Just little pointers it will be, Colin.
Second goal. It's a second goal for St Johnstone.
Right.
They take the lead here. It is Liam Smith that side foots it into the roof of the net. Really good work down the left hand side. Magnificent
save!
Cutback as well, and a fine finish from Liam Smith to give the visitors the lead here at East End Park.
Alan Preston.
Kyle Williams with a deflected cross that's going in at the back post. Prior backtracking, brilliant save away from a corner.
Right, so big moments in these games there. That could be a really important goal for St Johnstone up there at East End Park. Ayr United back in it now away at Ross County. County 3, Ayr United 2, Scott McMahon on 66 minutes. Billy, any examples of managerial dynamics like then that you've played under? Because of course he's a brilliant manager, he's a motivator. I love listening to Martin, and it just struck me as a bit strange watching that. But is that quite a common thing? You have certain managers who make rare appearances, say on the training ground. They've got coaches there that take a bit of a back seat at times.
I don't think they take a back seat for it, but I mean, Walter Smith could coach and he could be the figurehead. You saw at the end when he got in coaches and he just as soon as he appeared in a room, he shut up, because he could handle tactics, he could handle just the authority of him. You knew he knew the game inside out. But there was a time when Walter Smith did take a step back and let other coaches go on it, and then he just dipped in now and again. I think a figurehead with good coaches is fine, absolutely fine.
Alex Smith and Jockey Scott.
Yeah.
Alec was the one that stood in the touchline, and Jockey took just about all the training and all the tactics. Alec didn't really get involved in that. He had his quiet word with players before, during and after, and obviously I had these moments in the dressing room as well, but it was Jockey Scott that took all the training.
I think if you cleverly set up your coaching staff, then you have to then allow them a remit. You have to allow them then to take charge of certain areas, and that's probably what Martin O'Neill's done. He's brought Sean Maloney in for a reason. It was probably a tactical that he was speaking to the players about, because I would imagine that's where his strengths would lie in terms of the tactics.
There's a free kick, but
and there is just moments that other coaches have to take over and put their bit in.
Yeah. I did well not to interrupt you, because it was a free kick outside.
I don't like you.
For Livingston. And I thought I had a sense of something, but came off the wall. In fact, didn't come off the wall, because a bit of kick's been given. So
at least it wasn't a throw-in check.
I don't interrupt a throw-in.
No, I've been interrupted by a throw-in. Some of the boys know. Some of the boys know it.
Who's the worst offender then?
Out them, Willie.
Not me.
Check. Alan Preston.
No.
I'll be quiet.
Not having that for you, actually.
I am telling you. I can score. There could be a goal scored in the World Cup final when you cost St Mirren have won a throw and you'll interrupt.
Peter Houston was like that as well, Kenny. He was always at training. He was always there. But I don't know if he was the coach. I think under Craig Levein at Hearts, but he very much took on the man management role at Falkirk. He was brilliant, and James McDonough took a lot of the training. But Walter Smith as well, I was there under the second, well, as I said before, was involved in a lot of games on the bench and the squad and things, and I think he was that clear with his message that he didn't need to get too involved for domestic games, but when it came to Champions League games, the tactical preparation, it was him. He was a figurehead. He led it. This is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to play. And he pulled men about and all the rest of it. But for the domestic game, he was so clear with his message that very rarely did he need to intervene.
Was it Archie Knox?
No, not when I was there. No, it was Alan McCoist and Kenny McDowell.
All right, okay.
Kenny, Willie was talking about Jockey Scott there, the Black Pirate. He left me out of a cup final team, and he brought in a guy. that played 7 games in his career. I don't even remember the guy's name.
And you're not quite over it yet.
No, not over it, no.
Listen, I'll mention it to Jockey. the nice golf out.
I'll see him in the Fort Bar.
Montrose 0, Alloa Athletic 2, Callum Burnside on 70 minutes. We're going to go on the telly in about 5 minutes time. Let's have a quick bounce around the grounds before we do so. So let's get to the one top flight game that kicked off at 3 o'clock. Falkirk at home against Livingston. Let's hear from Alan Preston.
But it's still 1-0 to Falkirk, Kenny. That Brian Graham penalty, who's subsequently been substituted, taken off, given a rest. He got the only goal from the penalty spot in 16 minutes. It was a corner that came in as Stevie May hit his elbow. No one's seen it, apart from maybe Henderson. And as Livingston broke, there was a collision between Bain and May up the other end. The referee then was asked to go and look at VAR, and he gave the penalty and upset Brian Graham to knock it home. It's the only goal of the game so far. Falkirk have been the better side. Livingston are creeping into it, and they've got about 20 minutes left to get at least back into this game. It's 1-0 at the moment.
Montrose 0, Alloa Athletic 2, Callum Burnside on 70 minutes. Ross County 3, Ayr United 3. Curtis Main on 71 minutes. Stenhousemuir 0, Kelty Hearts 2. Riku Diak with his second of the game there. That goal coming on 71 minutes. Let's get to Willie Miller at East End Park. It sounds like just a fantastic game there, Willie.
It is, yeah. I mean, I think that St Johnstone have taken control of the game. I felt that Dunfermline came out, at the beginning of the second half, they looked as though they were up for the challenge, but it petered out very quickly after about 5 or 10 minutes, and really it's been about St Johnstone. They fought back. They obviously had that blow going down to the first goal in 8 minutes, but they've scored in 30 minutes and 66. The second one, both of them were good goals, totally different goals. The free kick spectacular, the second goal from Liam Smith, Jason Holt, brilliant down the left hand side, cuts it back, and good quality in the box. from Liam Smith to finish. So at this moment in time, I would say that the game is there for St Johnstone to lose. They're playing well, they've got the ascendancy, and it's going to be a big ask for Dunfermline to get back into it.
Right, let's get to Capello. Morton are home to Arbroath. Get the latest from Ian McCall.
It's still the same scoreline. It's Morton 1, Arbroath 0, but Arbroath are starting to push a bit. They brought Todorov on for Riley up front. It's allowing them to go a wee bit more direct. Just as Willie was talking there, Todorov had half a chance, I would say, but I tell you what, he's got a great header on it. Got above Chris Moore, the Morton goal scorer, and got it on target. Storer in the Morton goal has made a great save down to his right hand side and just pushed it. I think he might have pushed it onto the post or just but Arbroath are pushing really, really hard for the equaliser, but currently still 1-0 to Morton.
Montrose 0, Alloa Athletic 3. Stefan Skugel on 72 minutes. Elgin City have equalised away Edinburgh City, 1 apiece there. Dylan Ross with that goal, and Dumbarton ahead against Annan Athletic. Tony Wallace on 71, Dumbarton 2, Annan Athletic 1. Let's get to the City Stadium, Queen's Park against Raith Rovers, and get the latest from Chick Young.
Yep, still Queen's Park 1, Raith Rovers 1. The goals both coming early in the game. Josh Fowler for Queens and Dara O'Connor for Raith Rovers, the equaliser 10 minutes later. That was in 22 minutes. Since then, it's been certainly in the second half much more possession to Raith Rovers. They moved the ball well, having a couple of digs at goal. A good save at one point from Callum Ferry, and then there was one just over the crossbar. There was that free kick I described a moment or two ago, which went over the crossbar as well from Dylan Easton. It's finely balanced. That if you were pushing me to think somebody might get a winner here, I think it would be more likely to go for the Rovers. They're certainly threatening a little bit more, but got credit to Queen's Park. They're playing some good football, getting possession on an excellent surface at the City Stadium, and in fact getting forward at the moment, Kenny. But as we stand, it is Queen's Park 1, Raith Rovers 1.
Thanks, Kenny. There's been a brilliant chance, and it cleared off the line there. It was a brilliant chance. Adeloye 1-on-1, and the goalie's made an absolutely brilliant save. The balls went back into the box, and I think it was Adeloye again had one, and it was cleared off the line by Scott Stewart. Morton starting to gain ascendancy, still winning 1-0.
Thank you to Ian McCall there. Now, just looking at the rugby, it's very, very close actually. The producer keeping it right. I don't think Scotland have ever beaten New Zealand, never beaten New Zealand. Scotland 14, New Zealand 17 at Murrayfield. 66 minutes played. I think Scotland just thought they'd gone over the line, but they tried. They'd lost control of the ball before he touched it down. So potentially history being made at Murrayfield this afternoon. So we're a bit later on television. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll be on there in a few minutes' time, on to around about 5:20. The action continues on BBC Radio Scotland. A big game in Paisley tonight. St Mirren against Hibs. We'll get the team news for you. We'll hear from both managers ahead of kick-off there. And of course, 4 games on Sports Sound for you tomorrow. 3 o'clock kick-offs. Aberdeen against Motherwell, Dundee against Rangers, Hearts against Dundee United. 4 o'clock start. Celtic are at home to Kilmarnock. I mean, just looking at that tomorrow, Julie, some fantastic games there. How will Aberdeen bounce back from their trip? I mean, Motherwell were very disappointed, you'd have to say, at Hampden Park last weekend. Dundee, Rangers. Dundee have done well against Rangers and Celtic this season. Hearts just all guns blazing for them. Celtic, the Martin O'Neill effect, will that kick in again against Kilmarnock? Some really big games tomorrow. Yeah, there is some really good fixtures, and just looking at the Aberdeen one to start with, Motherwell, we know their league form's been really good.
Oh, what a goal that is! And it's Josh Fowler for Queen's Park. They have taken the lead. Wonderful move through the middle. Josh Fowler times his one to perfection, puts it onto his left foot and curled it beyond Josh Ray and the Rovers goal. What a time to score a goal. It's Queen's Park ahead. It's Queen's Park 2, Raith Rovers 1, and it's Josh Ray with the goal.
Yeah, 2 huge goals there for Fowler. Queen's Park against Raith Rovers. Welcome to viewers who have joined us on BBC One Scotland. As ever, Scottish football, there is no shortage of drama. We've just had a goal win. We'll get that for you in a couple of minutes' time. Julie Fleeting, Billy Dodge, Rory Loy alongside me in the studio. Let's take a bounce around the grounds. I say some big games going on around the country. Let's get the latest now. First stop, the Falkirk Stadium. Falkirk up against Livingston. There for us is Alan Preston.
Where it's Falkirk 1, Livingston 0 at the moment, Kenny. And Livingston are unbeaten in the last 5 against Falkirk. It looks like it's going to change today, and the only goal in the game came in the 16th minute. It was actually a corner to Falkirk. and the ball broke up the other end, and there was an altercation 100 yards away between Scott Bain and Stevie May, but VAR asked the referee to go and look at it, and May had apparently handled the ball in the box, given a penalty, unquestionable a penalty. I'm being told to Falkirk. Up stepped Brian Graham, slammed it home with his right foot, and from then Falkirk have started to dominate. They had chances, shots from the edge of the box, some decent efforts that they've had as well into the second half. Livingston have got better. Picolas had an effort just over the top of the crossbar, but as we sit, it's Falkirk who are going into third place. It's Falkirk 1, Livingston 0.
And Billy, as Alan said, there was real confusion in the stadium earlier on. We had a big debate with Bobby Madden, former top flight referee, talking about VAR, with fans on giving their experience. It's not great in the grounds, and we did say there have been some really poor calls this season from the VAR officials, but today we saw why VAR works with that penalty award.
Definitely an instance where you need VAR, and we watched the attack after that, and then when we scroll back and watch the clearance at the front post, you can see that it comes over bodies, but Stevie May leads with his arm and kind of arms it away, and it goes a fair distance as well. So there was no doubt it was a penalty kick, and VAR was correct on this occasion.
Right, let's get to the Championship. We are covering 3 games for you this afternoon. What a game is taking place at East End Park, and Dunfermline at home to St Johnstone. There for us is Willie Miller.
Yeah, and at this moment in time, St Johnstone are leading Dunfermline 2-1, and in the second half performance, deservedly so. Felt the first half was quite even. The scoreline suggested that as well, but when I'm looking at my notes over the piece, it's been about St Johnstone, particularly in the second half. They've controlled the game, controlled the ball. They scored a very good goal. Liam Smith, great work down the left hand side from Jason Holt. Got it back to Smith, who side-footed it into the top roof of the net to make it 2-1 for the visitors. Neil Lennon has made 3 substitutions. He's desperate to try and turn this game around. Time is ticking on now. They don't have too much longer to turn it round in their favour, and so far St Johnstone's still in control of this game, and it's going to take a big effort for Dunfermline to get anything out of it.
Yeah, we were chatting earlier on, Julie. St Johnstone are clearly the favourites for the Championship title. Partick Thistle running them close right now, albeit a disappointing result in the end for them last night against Airdrie. But it's the attacking options, it's the style of play under Simo Valakari, and the fans are buying into it. Willie seeing a big travelling support at Dunfermline today.
Away to come on.
All right, Big Ikpe as well to come on. He's got plenty of options, Valakari.
Yeah, he does, and the way they've kind of handled that Championship level has been exceptional so far. Only having lost 1 league game this season, we know how difficult the Championship can be for teams, and to go on that type of run at the start of the season for St Johnstone has been remarkable. Dunfermline putting in a bit of a stronger, more solid kind of period at the moment, although they'll be really disappointed to have been leading this game and to have conceded those 2 goals. But by all accounts, St Johnstone, in terms of their possession and the opportunity shots that they've managed to create, do seem to be deserving of that 2-1 lead.
Yeah, it sounds a great game there. Some goals going in elsewhere. Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 2. Russell Dingwall on 74 minutes. West Ham United 2. Thomas Suchek with a goal there. Burnley 1. Let's then continue our bounce around the Championship grounds. Next stop is Capello. Morton at home to Arbroath. Let's get the very latest from Ian McCall.
The scoreline right now is Morton 1, Arbroath 0. First half was pretty nondescript, to be honest, apart from the goal. It was a great cross by Aaron Comrie breaking down the right hand side. The volleyed finish, Chris Moore, the centre back of Morton, must have stayed up from a corner, and he's finished it like a centre forward. It's ebbing and flowing in the second half. There's no team that's really got on top. There has been chances. Todoros come on for Arbroath to give them a more physical challenge, and he nearly scored with a header. Great Storer saving the Morton goal. And then Tommy Adeloye was through 1-1. McAdams in their both goal, really good save. It broke to Nathan Shaw. The goalie's out of his goal. He's put into an empty net, but it was cleared off the line by Scott Stewart. It's been a terrific second half, and it's really boiling up. You couldn't say what way is going to go right now. It's still Morton 1 or Arbroath 0.
Rory, just looking at Morton, they're still fancy their chances of making the playoffs. A disappointing afternoon so far for Arbroath, but for a part-time club, what a season they are having, currently sitting third on the table.
Yes, indeed. 2 young co-managers as well. Chris Hamilton, David Gold getting promoted from League One, doing very, very well. Experienced managers find it difficult to get teams out that division, so they've done extremely well, and they've started the season in great form. Whether that's the momentum from last season continuing on, or whether it's taken a little bit of inspiration from Arbroath a few seasons ago, I'm not quite sure, but it'll be disappointing today though. But Morton quite often are in and around the playoffs come the end of the season, so it is, as we know, such a competitive league, but Arbroath will not be giving up right until the last kick, that's for sure.
Right, next up, Queen's Park at home to Wraith Rovers. Let's hear the latest from Chick Young.
Shock score line, it's Queen's Park 2, Wraith Rovers 1. Big win if it stays this way for the Spiders. They've really been reinvigorated. They're much more strong.
Oh, what a change of tack that is. Brilliant, Charles.
Reinvigorated in the wake of that second goal, doing some sweet football. Got a grip of the game now. I thought there was a goal in the game, but I really thought it was Wraith Rovers who were having the possession and getting forward and creating opportunities. But it's credit to Queen's Park. That's a double for Josh Fowler now. He scored after 12 minutes. Dara O'Connor, the equaliser, 10 minutes after that. And then deep into the second half, Fowler with an excellent second. Good build up for Queen's Park. They're passing the ball well on a fine surface, and now 2-1 ahead, which will be a big 3 points for them if they keep it this way. And of course a blow to the Kirkcaldy side, who've got ambitions to get themselves in to a promotion place. Still 2-1. We're well into the 80th minute here at City Stadium.
Yeah, this would be a sore one for Barry Robson, Billy, if the scoreline stays the same. We spoke about Queen's Park earlier in the programme, the concerns around them. It's been difficult times, of course. A young manager in there today, if they can hang on today, that could be a real catalyst for them.
Yeah, and it would probably, if the results stay the same, move them up a spot as well on the table and give them a real confidence boost. It'd be an unbelievable result for Queen's Park with their troubles, but Wraith Rovers, we all tipped them to be up and around the promotion playoffs, and they still could be, but it'd be really disappointing for Barry Robson and his team if they come away there with no points.
Stennismuir have pulled a goal back at home to Kelty Hearts. Matthew Aitken on 84 minutes. Steny 1, Kelty Hearts 2. Let's get back to that 3 o'clock game at the Falkirk. Oh, before we do that, Ian McCall, goal at Capello.
It's just been given offside, Kenny.
Right, talk us through it, Ian.
Michael Garrity in at the right hand side. They should have scored that earlier with Nathan Shaw. He should have passed it across to Gary, who I think would then have been onside, but he's eventually found his way and he's put it into an empty net, and it's been called up for offside.
Right,
still 1-0 to Morton.
Still, as Ian said, still very finely balanced there, deep into the closing stages down at Capel. Let's then get back to that game at the Falkirk Stadium. Falkirk went ahead early on. Alan Preston, as you were telling us, through that penalty that was awarded correctly after a VAR intervention. What have you made of Livingston in the second half? Have they offered an awful lot?
Not enough. They've offered some more, but just not enough, Kenny. And looking at Davey, he's down there, he's very animated as he always is. He's wanting more out of his team, he's wanting more urgency from them. He's rang the changes, he's made 5 substitutions, so he's clearly not happy with half the team, and they need to do better. You know, they're now sitting at the bottom of the league. Falkirk now sitting pretty in 3rd. Livingston, and they're certainly my tip not to struggle, but on this performance they're certainly going to struggle in this league. They need to do more.
He'll be so frustrated, Davy Martin. There's been nothing in the game, nothing at all, and that one incident where it hit Stevie May in the hand, it's hard to argue with the penalty being given because it does strike him on the arm. It'll be extremely disappointing if they come away with this with absolutely nothing, because he'll feel that decisions and key moments in the games went against him, not necessarily in terms of the refereeing decisions, because Macaulay Tate had a moment of madness as well, just his own players making bad decisions at bad times.
They've got a really good thing going there, Billy Dodge. You were there last week for us, of course. The victory over Kilmarnock, sell out every home game, an attractive style of football. There's just a really good feeling around that club right now.
Oh, it's a good place to be, there's no doubt. And as I said to you earlier, when the fans are needed, they're required, they get right behind the team, even when they're struggling. There's times in this game when they've not been at their best, and I'm sure the fans getting right behind them, because it could be a vital 3 points. Livy have had a couple of chances. Muirhead had a really good chance from a header, and headed that straight at the goalkeeper as well. But I mean, it's an open game now. Livingston try to go for it, Kenny, and get back in the game, and Falkirk try to finish them off.
And you were saying earlier on, Julie, it's great to see obviously 2 promoted sides today. It's been a struggle for Livingston, albeit they've got a very good recent record against Falkirk, but it's good to see a promoted side come up, play good football and do so well. Yeah,
and stick to the way that they played in the Championship, that what had got them the success and managed to get them promoted, managed to get them to win that league, and they have just taken this into the Premiership. I think the football that they play is attractive. It's probably why they've got so many people coming to watch them, because it's an enjoyable team to come and see, and certainly the football that they play, and they continue to try and play football. They score goals. They do concede as well. They've done exceptionally well today because they've not had many clean sheets. So if the game finishes as it is at the moment, then that'll be a really important clean sheet for them.
Yes, Alan was saying, I'm very frustrated. We've just seen him right now. Davy Martindale, the Livingston manager, he's just had a quick look at his watch. It won't be too long to go there in that game. Alan will keep us fully posted on that. East Kilbride 2-0 up now at home to Stirling Albion. Connor Young on 88 minutes. Let's get back to that game at East End Park, because Willie gave it the big build-up, and the game has certainly delivered this afternoon. Willie, a huge support in there, some decent football on show. Do you think Dunfermline can nick anything late on?
Well, they're making a good attempt at it, Kenny. You know, they're pushing very hard. They've pushed St Johnstone back the park. They've had 2, 3, maybe even 4 corner kicks as well. St Johnstone are finding it really difficult now when they had control of the game to actually get on the ball, because they're just basically pinned back. Now that can be the opposition playing well. Oh, right across the face of the goal. How that doesn't get a touch for Dunfermline down the left hand side. It's drilled right across the face of the goal. It was just begging for someone to touch it. It was Rory McLeod that put it a really intelligent type of ball, low and fiercely driven, and it just needs a touch and it ends up in the back of the net. Unfortunately, no touches were available, and it just went out for the goal kick. But Dunfermline throwing everything at St Johnstone, but St Johnstone so far standing up to the pressure that's been put on them. It's really the first time, I would say, in the game that they've had that intense pressure. So getting towards the final and closing stages of this game, St Johnstone certainly defending deep, and Dunfermline piling on the pressure, but still 2-1 to the visitors.
Yeah, we heard from Neil Lennon pre-match, Rory. They're clearly trying to build something special there. There's been decent investment. They've got some really talented young players. It's going to take a bit of time, but there's no doubt that's a big football club with a big support ready to get right behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty of the Championship these days, Kenny, is it can take time, and you know it's not going to happen overnight. But if you finish in the top 4, you've still got a shot at promotion. So it can take time. You could finish 4th, and you can still look at things and go, you know, we've got a chance to go up into the top league here.
Equaliser!
Alan Preston back to the Falkirk Stadium.
It's a brilliant header. It's a great ball in. It's a free kick.
Oof.
And it's a brilliant header by Danny Wilson into the bottom corner, giving Scott Bain absolutely no chance. And it looks like the bogey team for Falkirk strikes again. They cannot beat Livingston. 1-1 here.
It's a great delivery into the box. It's
Graham Carey, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, just brilliant. We've seen him score in the 90th minute from the penalty spot last weekend for Livingston, and he just whips it in.
Great delivery.
And I mean, it's just crying out for somebody to get their head on it, and it's Wilson guides it into the bottom corner. I mean, it's a great goal from a Livingston point of view, and they've certainly been knocking on the door in the last few minutes.
Brilliant delivery, but the big thing for Falkirk, Henderson drops in the back zone so early, and it just plays them on. But yeah, take nothing away from the header. Let's look at the positives.
Look at that smile on the face of Davy Martindale. What a change in 30 seconds or so. He was a very frustrated character.
Oh!
Right, goal.
It's equaliser.
Oh! Willie Miller, East End Park.
It's an equaliser for Dunfermline. It is Robbie Fraser. Robbie Fraser coming in from the left-hand side on his right foot. He clips it towards. It's a decent strike, but it takes a little deflection. I think it's on target, so it's his goal. And it goes by Stewart and goal. So all that pressure, that intense pressure that St Johnstone were having to put up with, they've finally broken them down and got the equaliser.
Right, a real rush of goals there, so let me just run you through it. In League One, Stennismuir have fought back from 2-0 down at home to Kelty Hearts. Scott McGill with that goal on 88 minutes, 2 apiece there. Down in England, West Ham United 3, Burnley 1. Kyle Walker-Peters with a goal there on 87 minutes. Just confirmation, a great header from Danny Wilson, but what a delivery from Carey for that goal. Falkirk 1, Livingston 1. Wilson with that goal on 89 minutes. Montrose 0, Alloa Athletic 4. Lewis Stewart in stoppage time there, and a big goal, as Willie Miller was telling us about.
And Andy Todd, though, it was.
Andy Todd, thanks to Willie Miller. 2 apiece there at East End Park.
Under 21s find it bizarre
Yeah, listen, I know Neil Lennon's had his say on that, that's for sure. We heard from Neil Lennon pre-match. You'll hear from Neil Lennon probably on Sports, and stay tuned to BBC Radio Scotland. We, of course, at 5:45 will turn our attention to Paisley. What a game there tonight. We have St Mirren at home to Hibs. Andrew Todd with that goal in the 91st minute. Dunfermline Athletic 2, Montrose 2. Sorry, St Johnstone 2, Montrose 0, Athletic 4, Lewis Stewart 91 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, 3 minutes of added time have come and gone at the City Stadium. Corner to Wraith Rovers. It's heading away. The full-time whistle's going to go, and yes, Queen's Park collect all 3 points. A double from Josh Fowler. Tara Donna equalise in the middle of all that, but it's Queen's Park who take all 3 points. A shock result, bad result for the Rovers in terms of their bid to get into the top four. And actually, Kenny, a real mood change among the Rovers supporters. A couple of guys came up and spoke to me before the game. I said, how you feel about Barry Robson? They said, it's kind of the crossroads, we're okay. They've just passed me, and one turned to me and said he's got to go on Monday.
Wow.
That's the way Scottish football works. And Barry Robson now up against it with some of the Rovers fans. But what a win for Queen's Park. They played really well in the wake of that goal, and they've got a standing ovation from the support. Only 867 inside the City Stadium this afternoon, but the lion's share of them very happy. All 3 points going to the Spiders, and that's a bit of a relief for them at the bottom of the table this evening.
Kenny, that will not make the young Airdrie goalkeeper feel any better about his mistake.
No,
Queen's Park winning. Goodness me, no.
No, do you see it as a two-way fight at the bottom of the table, Ian? Is that the way you're seeing it?
Yeah, I think so. And I was way more impressed with Airdrie than I was with Queen's Park. But Queen's Park, they've got the young lad Josh Fowler, who I think has got a real chance, and I think he's got 12 or 13 goals already. So if you've got somebody that's scored goals, you've always got a chance.
Yeah, I thought
he's got a free kick, Kenny, right about 22 yards out. And I think we're deep into stoppage time. I think there's about a minute to go.
Right, we'll just stick with you. Actually, I thought Airdrie were very, very good last night, and a real heartache, of course, as you said, for that young goalkeeper.
You quite often say, Kenny, the Championship never lets you down. You say it all the time. And
worst free kick in history,
a 2-2
into the wall.
And he's got plenty of talent, Ross Callaghan. He's a good dead ball striker, isn't he?
No, he obviously was.
He was. I thought he was a good player, Ross Callaghan.
Yeah, he's been injury prone now, isn't he?
Full time at Capello. Morton 1, Arbroath 0.
Yeah, big win for Dougie Emery's side. And I have to say, I don't know if anyone saw it last night. Dougie Emery speaking to Jonathan Sutherland on Sports Scene last night. Incredibly powerful, really brave, given all that family's been through. Fantastic, and a great result for them on the park today. Morton 1, Arbroath 0. Chick Bringers the full-time score from the City Stadium. A really important win for Queen's Park, 2-1 against Wraith Rovers. We'll get back to Willie Miller just in a couple of minutes' time. Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 3. Oliver Colotti with that goal on 88 minutes. So let's get back to you, Willie Miller.
Falkirk 1, Livingston 1.
Right, we'll get back to Alan and get the full-time report in just a couple of minutes' time. Let's get to East End Park. He's still playing there, Willie?
Still playing here, yeah. We've had a number of injuries in the second half, Kenny, and a few stoppages, but that's a full-time whistle. And it finishes 2-2. Really intense last 10 minutes of pressure from Dunfermline, and it's paid off for them with that Andrew Todd goal coming in from the right hand side. It does take a deflection. I think Toby Stewart probably saving it. I think he's got a decent view of it, and it's quite far out, and it's not hit with particularly great power, but it takes that deflection. The goalkeeper is stranded as it goes to his right hand side and ends up in the back of the net. So in a game that looked as though St Johnstone was controlling it, and they did control it for most of the second half, that kind of an energetic fight back in the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. It was on 90 minutes that the equaliser was scored, so Neil Lennon will be pleased with the fight that his team has shown in getting this point.
Yeah, great game up there. A big crowd, as Willie Miller was telling us, at East End Park. So what we'll do here, we're on the telly till around about 5:20. The action will continue on BBC Radio Scotland. Full coverage, full commentary come from the Smythe Stadium. St Mirren at home to Hibs. It's a 5:45 kick-off there. We'll cross just shortly, bring you the team news. We'll hear from both managers on BBC Radio Scotland. We'll go through the classified scores for you in a few minutes. We'll have a look at the table. Some interesting reading certainly in that championship this evening. But before we do that, we'll bounce around the grounds and get the full-time reports from all our guys who've been out and about this afternoon. So late drama in the 3 o'clock kickoff in the top flight today. Falkirk 1, Livingston 1. Let's get that full-time report from Alan Preston.
Yeah, Kenny, it was a bit of a strange game. Falkirk are the better off it, but Livingston never say die attitude and certainly have the bogey sign over Falkirk. They can't beat them at all, Falkirk. They're struggling to get victories over them, albeit they're far superior in points in the league. But the goal for Falkirk came in 16 minutes. It was a penalty and it was down to VAR. Not many seen it. It was an out-swinging corner. Stevie May was at the front post. It's hit his arm, but the referee didn't see it. Neither did I. We're watching the play reach to the other end. There was an altercation with Stevie May and Bain. Eventually the referee is called to go and have a look at the screen, and when he looks at it, instantly he looks and gives a penalty to Falkirk. Up steps Brian Graham and smashed it home with his right foot, giving Prior absolutely no chance. And you would have thought then Falkirk, can they go and grow on that? They had chances. Spencer had a shot just wide, Williams had a shot well saved by Prior, and slowly but surely Livingston crept into the game. Davy Martindale not happy in the second half, makes 5 changes half his outfield players, and eventually with a minute to go they get an equaliser. And one of these subs, Graham Carey, wonderful left foot as we all know, free kick whipped into the box, and there's the captain Danny Wilson with a wonderful flick header into the bottom corner. Livingston then piled on the pressure with the 4 added on minutes it came, but they couldn't get that winner. 1-1's probably a fair result in the end. John McGlynn maybe thinking he'd just harshly treated, but they are up to 3rd place. Livingston still bottom. Full-time score, Falkirk 1, Livingston 1.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Rory, because we spoke before the game about the really poor record that Falkirk have against Livingston in recent times. I'm just wondering, as a player, does that get into your psyche at all?
No,
it doesn't affect you at all.
I don't think so. I mean, you have teams that you do better against and ones you don't, but I just don't think. They might say before the game, we're due, these guys won, that type of idea, but I don't think going into the last 5 minutes of the game they're thinking we've not beat Livingston in a while, we're going to concede here, or I don't think it has that much of an impact. I think it's maybe something you could mention, let's go out and beat these, we've not done it in a while, whatever else, but I don't think it has enough of a psychological impact to make a difference in the match.
I'm not sure, Julie, we saw that equaliser coming, but my goodness, when it did, the quality of that delivery and a really good header.
Yeah, I mean, Carey's cross is magnificent. I think he's prone to that. He's got a wonderful left foot, and I think when you can see Wilson and the other players are in the box, when you know that you've got a player of that quality over the ball, you're really just needing to attack that area, and you don't need to get an awful lot on the header because there was already pace in the cross that came in, and Wilson just guides it into the corner, and it was a great goal from a Livingston point of view.
And it's also important again, Billy, just to mention, because we had a bit of discussion on VAR with Bobby Madden early in the programme, but VAR worked perfectly there today. Apart from Liam Henderson, we watched replays, he was the only player that saw that handball. He was claiming for it, the ball up the other end. We wondered what was going on. Certainly those in the stadium wondered what was going on, but it was a clear handball, the right call from the VAR team.
Absolutely. I mean, when it travels one length, the one edge of the park to the other, then you start having question marks, but when they take it back, there's a reason for it, and it was quite right, because although he doesn't see it till late, Stevie May, and he was arguing that with his coaches when he went off. I don't know if you noticed that. He was saying, I didn't see it, but you could see the arm come out away from the body slightly, and just kind of helped get it clear. So VAR worked. That is why VAR is perfect. Everybody missed the handball. VAR picked up, and the penalty was correctly given. So there's no debate.
And this is where guidance comes in, because people might look at that and say, I don't want to see penalties given for that. That type of idea. It's grazed his elbow. Great. Well, this is where guidance comes in. The referees need to follow the guidance, and the guidance on that is it's a penalty kick, so it's quite right.
Yeah, it was the right call. So Falkirk 1, Livingston 1. Let's get into the championship. What a game at East End Park. Late drama there this afternoon for you, Willie Miller.
Yeah, it's a brilliant game of football, Kenny. Really enjoyed it. A lot of good football played. A lot of energy out there. Determination, obviously, and Dunfermline's point of view. They started the game so well, taking the lead in 8 minutes. It was a well worked goal. Matty Todd down the right hand side drills a low ball, and Barney Stewart makes a great run. It's a a really difficult run when you're behind the defender and then all of a sudden he bursts in front of Baird, and it's not an easy finish, believe me. He's past the near post, he's just got to squeeze it in a very tight angle with the inside of the foot, but he picks his spot brilliantly and it ends up in the back of the net. I then felt after 10 minutes that St Johnstone showed their class and started to take control of the game. Sidibe was brilliant throughout, and in my opinion he had a magnificent header. He managed to conjure this header off the back of his head. It looked as though it was going to loop over Billy Terrell's head and into the back of the net, but the goalkeeper made a magnificent save at full stretch. And then he had another opportunity, Sidibe, from the resulting corner. He should have scored on that occasion. He put it by the post when it looked easier to put it inside the sticks. But then a magnificent strike from Rhys McAleer from the free kick. He's a good 25 yards at the angle as well. He curls it over the top of the wall and he finds the postage stamp. And from then on into the second half, St Johnstone took control of it, created another couple of opportunities, took the lead through Liam Smith. Jason Holt down the left hand side, cut it back to Liam Smith. He just opened his boot, picked his spot and slotted it into the roof of the net. And you think, well, and they did. After that was in 66 minutes, they did control the game right up until about the last 5 or 10 minutes, and then Neil Lennon threw on 3 subs. He demanded effort from his team. He got that, and Andy Todd, it was in 90 minutes, got the equaliser. He drives in from the left hand side. He should have been picked up. I thought that the defence should have come out earlier. He'd get the opportunity to have the strike at goal. I felt that Stewart would have had it covered if it wasn't deflected. Took a little deflection, wrong footed the goalkeeper, ended up in the back of the net. Neil Lennon will be delighted with the point. For long spells in the second half, didn't look as though he was going to get anything out of the game. It finished here at East End Park 2-2.
Thank you to Willie Miller. Next up, Capello Morton at home to Arbroath. Let's get the full time report from Ian McCall.
Yeah, priceless home win for Doug Emery's men after having 9 draws in their first 13 games. The first half was a bit untidy, a bit nondescript, but it was lit up by the goal. It was a fabulous goal. Aaron Comrie had made pace down the right hand side, crossed into the box. Chris Moore, I think, had stayed up from a corner kick, the Morton centre back, and he swivelled and hit a right foot volley in from about 8 yards. It took the net away. It was a fabulous goal, good enough to win in any game, and it turned out it did. Second half was the pace really upped in the second half. Arbroath brought on Todorov for Riley at half time, I think to allow them to go a little bit more direct. And it was Todorov that nearly got the equaliser with a header and a great Storer save in the Morton goal down low to his right. And then remarkably, I thought Morton had scored. Adeloy went through 1-1. Should probably have scored, went for power, and McAdams saved it well. The play came back into the box and Nathan Shaw had a chance with the goalie not in his goal, and all he had to do was put it into an empty net, but Scott Stewart got back to clear it off the line. I think it was probably just about deserved. It was a fascinating second half, but the home team got the result. Morton 1, Arbroath 0.
Thank you to Ian McCall down there at Capello. Next up, the City Stadium, Queen's Park at home to Raith Rovers. Let's get the full-time report from Chick Young.
Yeah, big win for Queen's Park at the bottom of the table. Stunning result for Raith Rovers as well. And in the opposite sense, it was a very interesting game, actually. It was Queens who took the lead after just 12 minutes. Josh Fowler with his first of the afternoon. Good goal this. Saw it all the way that he just curled it beyond the goalkeeper, Josh Ray, in the Raith Rovers goal to give Queens a short lead. But it was only 10 minutes held before Dara O'Connor equalised on the end of a free kick for the Rovers. It was whipped in very nicely for Josh Mullen, and he got the end of that to put it beyond the goalkeeper and make it 1 each at half time. I thought the Rovers in the second half were going to go and get ahead. They had more of the ball, but there was a sudden revival from Queens towards the end, and it was Fowler again who snatched it. Well, scored the winner. I'm not so sure snatched the right word, but 78 minutes gone. Fine goal for him, fine finish in the curl to put it beyond the goalkeeper Josh Ray again. 2-1 to Queens, and they were very comfortable and confident in the wake of that. It was a couple of scares for them throughout the second second half. But I would say that in the wake of that goal and the confidence that Queen's Park showed, there was a bit of a revival for them. They're still in trouble at the bottom of this league, but that's a big one for them this afternoon, and a huge blow for Rovers, who of course are embracing so many ambitions to get into the playoffs and get themselves back into the top flight of Scottish football. Barry Robson will have to look at this very closely this afternoon. 1 or 2 Raith Rovers fans not happy with the result nor the performance by their team, but I tell you what, the Queen's fans, not a lot of them inside the City Stadium, have left towards the bars and of Shawlands and around here this afternoon in a very party mood. Finished here, Queen's Park 2, Raith Rovers 1.
Yes, Chick said a really big win for the home side. We'll have a look at the tables in a few minutes' time. We will cross to Paisley, get the team news ahead of that 5:45 kick-off. But for now, let's have a look at the classified score. So just one game